Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here this evening. This is the meeting of the town of Yucca Valley, Tuesday, August 18th at 5 o'clock. We're going to call the meeting to order. Roll call.
Councilmember Dennison.
Dennison here.
Rhodes.
Here.
Lombardo.
Here now.
Mayor Pro Tem Schooler.
Here.
And Mayor Abel.
Here. We'll begin our meeting with our Pledge of Allegiance. I have asked Councilmember Dennison to lead us in the pledge. If you'll remain standing, our invocation tonight will be with Mayor Pro Tem Jim Schooler. Please rise if you're able.
Thank you, Mayor. Please join me in the pledge to our flag. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for this gathering of our community. We thank you for all the blessings that you provide to our country and our community. And we lift up the leadership of all the levels of government and just pray that you would grant them wisdom and just good decision-making at all levels. And we thank you for all the blessings that you give to our community. And just pray for wisdom as we address the issues of this community. And we ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Well, thank you. We have a very exciting evening planned for you, so thank you all for attending. We have a full house. We'll start off with our special presentations. It is my honor as the mayor of Yucca Valley to introduce you to our state champions tonight. Give them a round of applause.
Woo! Yeah!
They not only won District 58 and were champions of that, they advanced on, and we'll have our coaches come up and speak a little bit about that. But tonight we're very proud to recognize the Tri-Valley Little League Senior Division Softball All-Stars for their incredible accomplishment, winning the 2026 Southern California State Championship. Like I mentioned, this is a historic achievement for Tri-Valley Little League and for our community. For the first time, a Tri-Valley team advanced to the U.S. West Regionals, competing in Montana for the opportunity to advance to the Little League World Series. And I know after this experience, those ladies are hungry to go back and try to repeat this championship. What makes this accomplishment even more special is that these young athletes represent our small community on a very big stage. Their determination, teamwork, and commitment throughout the tournament were truly something our community could celebrate. We are proud of each of you and everything you accomplished this season. You represented Yucca Valley with tremendous heart and pride, and we hope you know just how proud this community is of you. On behalf of the Town Council, the Town of Yucca Valley congratulates the Tri-Valley Little League Senior Division Softball All-Stars on becoming that 2026 state champion. And at this time, we would like to present the team with a certificate of recognition. But first, I'm going to have our head coach come up, Ernesto Gamboa Sr., and come and speak for a moment. So let's welcome our head coach.
Hi, everybody. My name's Lindsay Jones. I am the local Tri-Valley Little League president. I have been delegated in the last 5 minutes to come up here and speak, so please bear with me as I try and make it through this. I don't want to reiterate what Mr. Mayor has already stated, but this is a truly historic run by these girls. They have worked incredibly hard through travel ball, their regular season ball. Being selected to All-Stars in and of itself is a huge accomplishment. Then to go on winning the district tournament, the state tournament, again, historic thing for our small community, and then to be able to represent us so well in Montana was such an amazing thing to witness, and we are incredibly proud of them. This would not have been possible without, again, the commitment of all of these girls, but also there's a few people that I'd like to recognize. I'm gonna ask them to stand up. You don't have to speak, just stand. Our head coach, Mr. Ernesto Gamboa Sr. And our assistant coaches, Ernesto Gamboa Jr. and Will Kuzinkowski. I also want to recognize Robin Bell, who really championed our fundraising efforts because, as you can imagine, with about a week's notice to send all of these girls to Montana, we did not want to burden any of the families. And I mean, that's not everybody has the funds to take a trip like that at the last minute. So these people really helped champion the community outreach and making sure that we were able to do this so these girls and their families wouldn't be burdened. So again, Robin Bell from our Tri-Valley board. Sydney Doty, Sarah Stewart, Ron Yaramillo, Corinne Jansen, and Miranda Rhodes. I also wanted to recognize Mr. Paul Hoffman from the town council. He worked very hard to help us from the community outreach standpoint to make sure that we had reached out to tons of local businesses. In fact, I think the very next day after they had won state, I had gotten text messages that Mr. Hoffman was out there pounding the pavement, walking into buildings, saying, hey, we need your support. So again, wanted to thank him as well. And finally, I'd like to ask each one of the players to come up and introduce themselves. I think they've earned the right to come up here to the podium and introduce themselves and let you know who they are. But before I go, I just wanted to say we are incredibly proud of each of you, and we honestly couldn't have been more honored by all of your hard work this season. So thank you.
You want them in the middle, right?
Yeah, after they introduce themselves, they can come right on up.
Hi, I'm Briley Doty.
Hi, I'm Allie Rhodes.
Hi, I'm Fallon Yakeley. Hi, I'm Brianna Aller.
Hi, I'm Cadence Stewart.
Hi, I'm Jada Cross.
I'm Marilyn Jaramillo.
Hi, I'm Esmeralda Lopez. Hi, I'm Annabella Tonsing.
Hi, I'm Jasmine Kuzinkowski.
Hi, I'm Kaylin Roberts. Hi, I'm Isabella Lopez.
I'm Coach Ernesto. Coach Ernesto Gamboa Jr. Coach Will.
Well, thank you. I have Mayor Pro Tem Schooler handing out Town of Yucca Valley pins, and I'll present this certificate recognizing Tri-Valley Little League Senior Division Softball All-Stars for winning the 2026 Southern California State Championship. I've never had a picture with state champions, so this is exciting for me. And for representing the town of Yucca Valley with outstanding sportsmanship, determination, teamwork, and pride, Yucca Valley Town Council extends its sincere congratulations to the players, coaches, families on this historic achievement, and for bringing great pride to our small community. This is presented by the Mayor, Merle Abel, presented on the 18th day of August 2026. And ladies and gentlemen, if you stand up, give them a round of applause and take a picture. Yes, if we had the Tri-Valley president recognize those people that were mentioned, would you come up also for a photo with the team? And again, give them a round of applause.
Couldn't have been done without you guys. Thank you so much.
Keep coming all the way down, because if they can't see the camera, they can't see you, so. There you go. Tiptoes, I always want you in the back row. All right. Age yourself, you're aging me.
Now that's one real good meeting. That is,
Yeah, it's a little humbling to understand that some of the coaches were my students in high school, so. All right, well, that doesn't get any better. However, we have a wonderful presentation up next, recognizing the Joshua Tree Sportsman Club for donations to the Town of Yucca Valley Animal Shelter. So let us tonight recognize the Joshua Tree Sportsman Club for their generous donation of $1,500 towards the Town of Yucca Valley Animal Shelter. As you know, this town council and the entire community have invested a lot of time, energy, and monies to bring our shelter up to where we could be very proud of it. And it's Joshua Tree Sportsman Club that put some more money into the coffers to help us deliver services. They've been an important part of the Morongo Basin for 79 years, providing outstanding community service and continuing to support local programs and organizations. Their long-standing commitment to our community is something we are very, very appreciative of. And we're grateful for their contribution and their generosity. This $1,500 donation will help support the town's animal shelter and the animals in our care. Community partnerships like this make a meaningful difference, and we are so thankful for this organization. Especially the amount of money they've raised not only for this organization, our animal shelter, but also they've raised money for those 79 years for many, many worthy causes. We are pleased to present you with a certificate of recognition in appreciation for your generosity of $1,500. And we have a representative that could come up and speak. We would love that, and give you a round of applause for the donation. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Cornell. I am the secretary and bingo manager for the Sportsman's Club.
Thank you. Yes, we appreciate that. And other organizations you've raised money for through the years?
Yeah, actually, we donated to the Tri-Valley Little League before they left.
Oh, wonderful.
So, other donations would be things like the schools. We donate to a lot of children's things, little leagues, that kind of stuff.
Wonderful. And then maybe this is an opportunity to explain to the community how they can help in raising money through the Sportsman's Club.
Come to our bingo, which is every Sunday from, sorry, on the spot here, 1:30 to 6:30 at the Joshua Tree Community Center. All of our donations go to community outreach programs.
So bingo on Saturdays.
Sundays.
Sundays.
Yes.
A large group of people. I've been there before. A lot of local people gathering. They look forward to seeing each other and having a great time. And if you're new to bingo, there'll be plenty of people to help you.
Of course.
And get out there and help support and raise money. It's a fun way to raise money, right?
Yes.
So we want them to recognize that. Is there any council members like to add anything while I go up there?
I think I remember calling numbers for bingo years in the past. It's a great organization, and they've done a lot of things in our community over many years.
Yes.
And I'll just make a comment. I've been here since 1976, and the Sportsman's Club has always been a part of the basin. And Joshua Tree used to be the cool place to hang out, and then it kind of cooled off. But the Sportsman's Club was always there year after year, bringing events to the community and gatherings. You know, that's a lot what it's about, is getting people together to socialize and do good things for our community. So thank you for continuing the tradition.
Of course. Thank you.
So as the mayor, I'm pleased to recognize the Joshua Tree Sportsman's Club for their outstanding community service for this generous donation of $1,500 to our animal shelter. The Yucca Valley Town Council extends its sincere appreciation for the club's longstanding commitment, generosity, and continued dedication to the town of Yucca Valley and the community. Presented on this 18th day of August in 2026. All right, we're ready to move on to town business, other town business, approval of tonight's agenda.
Mayor, I'll move the agenda as presented.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Dennison,
Dennison, yes.
Rhodes,
Yes.
Lombardo,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Schooler,
Yes.
and Mayor Abel.
Yes. Our next item is our consent agenda. All items listed on the consent agenda are routine matters or formal documentation covering previous town council instructions. Items are enacted by one motion and a second without separate discussion unless a member of the town council or town staff requests dialogue on a specific item at the beginning of the meeting. Requests for public comments on a consent agenda item should be filed with our town clerk. Madam Clerk, is there anyone asking to speak on the consent agenda?
I have no request to speak for consent.
Anyone online? Is there anyone here in the audience, or excuse me, in our chambers here tonight wishing to speak on an agenda item? All right, not seeing any. We have consent agenda items 4 through 15. I'm looking for a motion.
Mayor, I'll move the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Councilmember Dennison,
Dennison, yes.
Rhodes,
Yes.
Lombardo,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Schooler,
Yes.
and Mayor Abel.
Yes. We're going to get our very first community update. Department Report 16, Community Engagement and Homeless Service Program Update.
Thank you,
We'll give
Mayor.
it to the staff.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Appreciate that. This item, we're pleased to bring it to you this evening. You'll recollect that in the middle of June, the town of Yucca Valley appointed Faith Nicholson as our new Community Engagement and Homeless Services Coordinator. She brings a lot of experience, which you'll hear tonight in her presentation, just her expertise in addressing some of the needs that we have. For this evening's presentation, the town council's adopted strategic plan identified homeless outreach as one of our priorities. Faith is responsible for leading the development and the delivery of the town's program. This, as we went through the presentation creation over the week, normally we try and keep these relatively brief. This one's going to be a little bit longer, but I think there's an education component to this as well that Faith will go over with the council and the community. So with that, Faith, you want to take it away?
Yes, thank you very much. Can everybody hear me? Okay, so good evening, Council. I'm very excited to give you the first Community Engagement and Homeless Services Program update. The purpose of this update is to give you an idea of our starting point by highlighting some of the challenges that our area has been facing, and then go over some of what we have currently been doing and what the town's plans are to address these challenges. Okay. So the recommendation tonight is just to receive and file the Community Engagement and Homeless Services Program update, and then provide any input or direction as desired. So as this is a brand new program for the town, we didn't even have any goals established, so that was one of the first things that we worked on. We wanted to make sure that this program's goals aligned with the town's overall goals, so this is what we have so far. We want to have a compassionate, proactive, and solution-focused approach to addressing homelessness by collaborating with local service providers, governmental agencies, and different county programs to provide individuals experiencing homelessness with support, representation, and advocacy. We want to ensure that any of our homeless residents and any residents at risk of homelessness have access to appropriate resources and services. And we're doing all this while prioritizing the town's efforts to ensure all of our residents have access to safe and welcoming public spaces. So another thing that we got started doing quickly was getting some stakeholder feedback. And so we asked different departments and agencies what challenges they commonly faced when helping or interacting with our homeless residents. Some of the common challenges were vandalism, property left in public spaces, limited mental health and other resources, and inaccurate or incomplete data. If you see here, that picture on the left is our shade structure here in the community center. This is one of our quote-unquote problem areas where personal items are often stored. We did have one individual storing items for several weeks. We were able to work with that individual to create a plan to temporarily store their items while we are working on plan for a more permanent housing solution for them. I'm sorry, I forgot a couple of the other things. So a couple of the resources that people often reference were 211, which is our resource hotline, the Hope team. So the key takeaway to this feedback was that the town needs to develop regional partnerships, expanded service capacity, and more accurate data. So before we get too far into the data, I wanted to just highlight some of the data tracking tools that we have started using. So this right here is actually a map. This is an example of some of the data points that we have. Let me see if I could get this. So this is what our map looks like. You'll see right here this red triangle. That would signify an encampment, and these blue dots would signify individual engagements. Over here is an example of what the documentation looks like, and over here is actually what some of our encampment documentation looks like in, on our maps. So this map is able to help us track the encampments and outreach efforts and help us, coordinate and strategize all of our outreach efforts, as well as, provide us with some documentation, because it is important to, keep everything organized as we move about this.
Hey, Faith, if you wouldn't mind going back to that previous slide, and I don't know if the public or the council can read any of those, but if you could just read a couple of the log entries, I think we'll paint a picture of what kind of engagement we're actually doing.
Yeah, so I'll read you an example of one of our engagement in, logs. QLD would be Quality of Life Deputy, and OW would be Outreach Worker, which is myself. So QLD and OW notified individuals at this site that the owner of the property they were on has a 602 on file. The individual agreed to accept help from the outreach worker and created a plan to get him into stable housing, and that was identified back in July. Oh, wrong way. Okay. So some of the data that I want to talk about is the point-in-time count, and I know you have gone over the point-in-time count numbers in previous meetings, but I wanted to briefly go over them again. The point-in-time count is a count that's conducted every year by the Office of Housing and Urban Development, and it happens this last year. It happened on January 22nd, and it's essentially a census of our homeless residents. And as you can see here, this table actually represents our entire region. The reason I included all of our data is because we're looked at through a regional lens. So this is the East Desert's data for this last point in time count. And this is what this is what HUD looked at when deciding how much funding our area got for different programs. So it is important to make sure that we're not under reporting results, because it does result in fewer resources to our region. And so we're going to be looking at getting more accurate counts to improve access to housing and other supportive services. So if you look back at the numbers, we do, if you add all of them up, we did have 92 individuals throughout the Morongo Basin that were counted this last year. The next thing that I'm going to highlight is actually the coordinated entry system. So what the coordinated entry system is it's a standardized process used by communities to connect people experiencing homelessness or anyone at risk of experiencing homelessness with housing and other supportive services. So essentially what happens is it's one referral that an individual fills out, and that one referral gets sent out to all the participating agencies. And those agencies can go in and pull, from the referral pool that they have and place individuals into their programs. Organizations that provide services like temporary and transitional housing, as well as long-term programs like permanent supportive housing, use coordinated entry to pull their referrals from. And a lot of them only use coordinated entry to pull those referrals. So if an individual is not placed in coordinated entry, they do not have access to a lot of these supportive services. So I did reach out to United Way, who is our 211 operator and also operates our coordinated entry team. They have a really great team over there. And they let me know that over the past 6 months, they've only been able to place 35 individuals from our entire area in the coordinated entry system. Part of the reason why it's so few is in recent months, the only provider referring people into coordinated entry is 211. So essentially what happens is you call 211, you ask for a housing resource, you get screened. If you qualify under HUD definition of homeless, then you get sent over to the coordinated entry team. And the referral process is started that day. Oftentimes it's not finished. So the data for Yucca Valley for our 211 calls for Q2 of this year was 152 calls, and 127 of those calls were for housing. So as you see, a lot of the people that are calling for housing resources are not being placed on the referral list. And when talking to them about why that is, part of the problem is that being the only people referring people, being the only provider referring people to the coordinated entry team, they just don't have the resources to send a lot of people all the way out here. Geographically, we're kind of far from the San Bernardino area. And so it's hard for their team to be able to verify a lot of the documents. In order to be placed on the wait list, you do have to have verification of your identity, income, housing status, and if you don't have a provider to assist you with all of those, then it's easy to essentially fall through the cracks and not be placed on the wait list, on the referral list. Now, I do want to bring up that United Way can subcontract these services, and they have in the past. However, last year, HUD used our point-in-time count numbers to decide how much money our region got to run the 211 and CES program, and we only got $7,000 to run that program. So as you can imagine, there were no service providers who were able to justify putting that much time and effort into that level of service for only $7,000. And again, that was based on our point-in-time count numbers for this year. There is one more data point I want to highlight here too. It's our McKinney-Vento numbers. So if you are, for anyone not familiar with the McKinney-Vento program, it's actually a school program that is federal, and it helps ensure that any children experiencing housing insecurities have access to appropriate education and resources. So essentially what this means is if we have a student here in the Morongo Basin facing housing insecurity, then they would qualify to, or they would be classified as McKinney-Vento. As you see at the bottom, the school district, so Morongo Unified School District, had 547 McKinney-Vento students enrolled in their last school year. So what that means is we had 547 students experiencing housing insecurity and 547 students whose families rely on services like 211 and coordinated entry to be able to access stable housing and other appropriate resources. So we really want to make sure that the point-in-time count number is correct and we have access to these county resources because it does affect our community on a much larger scale. Okay. So next is what work has been done. So if you see up here in the corner, that's our new logo. This is going to be the logo that is associated with this program. It will be on our town vehicles, so when we're out and about doing our outreach, you'll be able to, see that it's the outreach team. Wave me down, say hi. We have also worked on strengthening our local response by coordinating with, town staff has been coordinating with county agencies, different outreach teams, and community partners to really increase our focus on outreach, resource connection, and those follow-ups that need to happen. We've worked on improving access to housing resources by expanding our coordination with 211 and the coordinated entry team to help ensure our residents are receiving those assessments and able to follow through with the referral process. There was a woman I was working with several weeks ago. She had called 211 and started the process back in January or February, beginning of the year. And the team wasn't able to get through to her because she lost her phone, her number changed. And so I was able to contact the team, get that process started up again, and we were actually able to place her on a referral, and she was matched with a program. So we're just waiting for a room to open up for her to get placed. We've also expanded our county partnerships, so I've worked quite a bit with the Office of Homeless Services, participated quite a bit in our continuum of care, and Adult Protective Services has been really, really helpful. We do unfortunately have quite a bit elderly and disabled homeless residents, so we're working on improving communication, coordination, and access to available resources. Regionally, we are working on collaboration. So I have participated in discussions with the San Bernardino Council of Governments consulting team that they hired to create a regional strategic plan. And so I was able to provide input based on our unique needs and challenges that we have here in our community. And so they are able to see what local conditions we have and what additional resources and support we may need. And so as that planning process continues, I will remain engaged with their team to help ensure the final plan reflects the needs of our priorities and our town and the surrounding areas. And then I have also had the opportunity to work with neighboring communities, so we are not the only town doing this. Most of the San Bernardino cities do have a homeless team. I have been able to work with Yucca and Redlands, going out with their homeless outreach team, seeing what resources they have to offer, and really, spitting ideas back and forth with them. So that has been really helpful to see how they're implementing a program like this. And then direct outreach, so I have been working to conduct field surveying to identify encampments and individuals. I've worked with street outreach teams as well as independently to engage with and identify the individuals that we have experiencing homelessness in our area. And I've been able to conduct outreach to encampments with the help of the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department Quality of Life Deputy. He's been able to make sure I can get out safely to these encampments and start, the outreach. And so that's been really helpful. We've been able to connect individuals with housing, behavioral health services, and other supportive services as well. So this is an example of some of the field work that we do. All these pictures that you see right here are from the same site. So as you see, the top right there is a picture that was taken back in January. Curtis and I actually went out to do some field surveying together. And so we saw that site. We identified that there were likely not individuals living there. There was nothing in that tent. And so we just wanted to keep an eye on it. We did report it to code to see if they can get it cleaned up. And then the bottom picture was actually as of yesterday. I went out with the quality of life deputy to check on the site again. And as you see here, it's very reasonable to say that there are no individuals here. So what will happen going forward is instead of outreach, we will be working with the property owner to get sites like this cleaned up. And in the middle there is an example of what the documentation looks like for a site like this. So as you can see, I put a description of the site, what happened at the site, and what the plan will be. We're working on getting a trespass in order, just in case any individuals do return. Then the property owner gave us the tools to be able to get that under the control. So some of the next steps and priorities that we have going forward. Get the logo on the truck. We will be working to strengthen our coordinated entry referrals and making sure that those follow-ups are happening and making sure no individuals are falling through the cracks. I really want to focus on helping support our local service provider and the boots on the ground actually doing this work and educating them on the different services out there available to them and their clients, and assist them in getting familiar with coordinated entry and other available services, just to make sure everybody knows what is available to them. We're working on improving our data and service coordination, so this will be in a future update, hopefully, but we are currently working on completing licensing and training to be able to enter individuals we serve in the homeless management information system. This is another county tool that is used to track services rendered, and so they do look at this to see kind of where the activity is throughout the county. So we definitely want some representation in this tool as well. And then expanding county outreach. So I'm very excited. Later this month, I will be going out with the Office of Homeless Services outreach team to help them conduct some field outreach. They are not as familiar with the area as they're from down the hill. So I'll be helping them go around, make connections with individuals. So hopefully we can get some people connected with different county services. And of course, I will be preparing for the 2027 point-in-time count, so that will be one of my duties this next year. I will be in charge of the count for both Yucca Valley and Joshua Tree, so we want to make sure we plan to make sure we get the most accurate data. Encampment outreach, we are coordinating with more outreach teams to be able to make contact with individuals living in encampments and be able to connect them with vital resources and services, and with appropriate representation. And lastly, we are working on making sure we have safe and accessible public spaces for all of our residents. So we will be updating our town ordinances and policies to be compliant with local changes to state law and funding sources, such as the Encampment Resolution Funding Program. We do need to make sure some of our ordinances are up to date to be able to qualify for some of those grants. And then we will continue to coordinate enforcement efforts to promote a safe and accessible public spaces while supporting connections to available resources. And last, but certainly not least, we do now have a dedicated page on our website. I added a QR code on here if anybody wants to scan it to get a direct link. On it, you will find a program overview, all of my contact information on how to make a referral, as well as a community resource guide. So if you see right here are the different categories. So if you're looking for rental assistance, you can just select that drop-down menu, and the different resources will pop up underneath there. Okay, and there's the QR code again if anybody missed it. So this concludes my presentation. I can take questions from the council following public comment.
Mayor and council, I think you can tell from the presentation this evening that we have the right person running this program for the town. Super excited to have Faith on board. Her expertise is well known throughout the basin, not only with the actual activities, but also the relationships that are necessary both with providers, with potential clients, and with other organizations in the community. The last comment is not necessarily to throw water on this, but this is a journey. It's not a sprint, and we know that there are many individuals that are facing housing insecurity. Much of that is often related to substance abuse or mental health issues, and so we recognize that, and there are multiple engagements that need to occur in order for ultimately solutions to be found and to be effective. And we see that every day as we even come to the community center. It seems to be a common place for gathering for those that are facing housing insecurity. And so we continue to work through those issues, but you have to start somewhere, and we have the right starting point, the right goals, and most importantly, council support for the program. So thank you for that. We'd be happy to answer any other questions.
Wonderful. Thank you for the presentation. We'll have some questions for you, but before that, we'll invite the community to make a statement or come up? Madam Clerk, do we have anyone wishing to speak on the homelessness program?
I do not have a request to speak for this.
Okay, anyone online asking to speak? Anyone up here have a question or comment? Yes, please come up. Oh, okay. You'll be given 3 minutes after you introduce yourself. Just give us your name and place of residence. If you would like to be off camera, let us know that as well.
No, I'm fine.
Thank you.
My name is Luann Correa. I live here in Yucca Valley, and I want to ask you if you take volunteers. I volunteer several places in the community.
At the moment, I don't think we're set up to take volunteers,
Okay.
but it's definitely something we can explore. I have my cards back on the table if you want to give me your contact information.
Okay, I will. Thank you. Thanks.
And they do have community members come and volunteer during the point and count? Yes, so
the point
this
in
is
time
one
count
area
does
you
take
can
volunteers.
volunteer.
Yes.
Okay. So if somebody would like to do a point and count and be part of that team, you will be put with several people, you're not just out there on your own, and they'll take you through the process. And the more bodies, as was mentioned, the better
Yes.
for getting accurate numbers. So that would be the very first place to volunteer, is helping us get an accurate count.
Yes,
So
thank
thank you
you.
for the question.
We do need a lot of volunteers for that.
All right, very good. Yes, please come forward if you would like to speak on the homelessness issue, your name and place of residence.
Excuse me, my name's Melody Chambers, and I live in the Gates of Spain. And I want to know, have you thought about setting up any type of a thing where people can drop off like donations for jackets, clothes, things like that to help out? Because
Yes, I definitely have considered that. I do not, have the resources or, the ability to process all of that right now. However, there are a lot of organizations that do take donations, and they, a lot of their clients are homeless and going in and getting their clothing and food for free from them. So again, if you would like a list of organizations that are great to donate to, please reach out.
that would be wonderful, because I've been here for over 6 years, and I have not found a single place to donate 14 jackets to.
Oh, I definitely have a place for you.
So, I mean, I would like the space.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't have the space right now, but I have some
I
organizations
understand.
in mind.
It's okay, I've shrunk them down to nothing.
Okay.
Very good. And that might be something we want to put on our website, where you can donate for people who want to donate clothing, monies for the homeless. Because I'll tell you, our nonprofits do a much better job than government in getting those items to those individuals. So maybe that's something we'll add to our website, a link to where you can go out, somebody like that has something to donate, and they want to make sure it goes to a homeless person versus something else. I think the Tay Center used to collect items as well, so.
They
we'll-
no longer collect items.
Okay.
Yeah, but there are a lot of other organizations that do.
All right, very good question. See, that's great to have community questions. Anyone else have a statement or question about how they can help or about the programming? Well, wonderful. That was very, very helpful. We'll bring it back to our town council. Any council members have a question for Faith about our programming?
I have a comment too, along the lines of what Curtis mentioned. It's sure evident that we have the right person, and you have that bubbly personality, and that it seems that your heart's engaged in what your job is, and we are so fortunate to have you working this problem in our community, and we give you our full support, and we're looking for great things. It's
Thank
awesome.
you. Thank you very much. I'm very
Keep it up.
fortunate to be able to do this.
Councilmember Dennison.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Faith, for the presentation. We've spoken before, and I knew these were coming, but you've really engaged well so far, not just with the community, but also with our other resources that we have here, and you've mentioned those during your presentation. One of them that I was kind of wondering about, the McKinney-Vento Assessment Act, I think that's pretty great for children, but the count is alarming. At 547 children that do have the opportunity to go to school, I can only think that there may be a lot of children that are not taking that opportunity to. So something, I'll want to hear more about, because, first we have to make sure that those children are protected and brought up and have an education opportunity. The thing, it's just that the number was something that I paid attention to. The other one was during the point in time count information that you showed, basically for the basin, It showed us at 21 individuals that were sheltered.
Yes.
But I didn't see anybody sheltered in any other area.
Oh, yes, so right
Alarming.
now, we currently have one shelter that provides transitional housing, and those are through county contracts, primarily probation and Department of Behavioral Health contracts. And she currently does not have any houses that are in other areas. Department of Behavioral Health was not counting their beds, actually, with the changes to the Behavioral Health Care Act and all those changes in funding. Now, this next year, they will be required to report those numbers. So there were more people that were sheltered. They just weren't required before to report them.
To report that. Okay, thank you. It just seemed a little out of balance, and we want it to be throughout the basin, that it's, people don't want to be, everyone moving to Yucca.
Yeah, oh, yeah,
They kind of
yeah.
want to stay where they're at if they found that spot, so help them there.
Yes.
So, thank you for your work, and I did hear the call out for the logo. I'll keep talking about it for you.
Yes.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem.
Yeah, Faith, thank you for the report. Good job. When we first approved this position, we had a conversation about wanting to make sure that, like so many agencies in the state, that we've seen, don't really make a lot of progress and put a lot of resources into that. So we wanted to make sure we weren't on that same path. And it's great to see that you hit the ground running. Your expertise and energy for the job is evident, and great report, well organized. I think we're off to a really good start to make a difference. So thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Drodes?
Yes, Faith, I'm really impressed, so thank you. And I think everybody said everything I was thinking, but when I met with you, I was impressed, and I'm even more impressed tonight. So when I think back like a year ago, I would have never thought we'd have someone in your position. And this happened pretty quickly, and I'm really happy. You're the perfect person for it, so thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I also agree, so thank you for your presentation. I do have a few questions. First of all, can you describe to the community the team that you go out? You don't go out as an individual to those encampments and so forth, so describe to us the protocol.
Yes, so the only time I do individual outreach is in safe areas, so primarily along Highway 62 and like the very public shopping areas. Here at the community park, I will do, one-on-one outreach. However, a lot of what I do is identifying encampments, and those I can't get to safely by myself. So typically what will happen is I want to understand what services are needed at that site. And so typically what will happen is I will contact our quality of life deputy, and we will go out together to be able to safely make contact with those individuals. And then once we make contact, I'm able to kind of assess, okay, which outreach teams need to go out. So then I'll typically start coordinating with either our street medicine team, we have a behavioral health team, we're going to have a case management team, and several other outreach individuals. So I do have a lot of support. And so I will see, what services they need and go out with those teams to help make that initial contact. And then after, that first contact, then they pick up where I left off.
Fantastic. Then also, have you had the opportunity to speak to each council member about the vision of the program and what you're trying to accomplish?
Almost every single one.
Okay, very good. I do know that you reached out to me and I got back to you. I think you've invited everyone to talk to you about the programming. And one of the things I wanted to make sure and emphasize, because I was really thinking about it, especially when our town manager brought it to our attention that, we don't see the numbers that you might see in San Bernardino and Orange County, where it's really blatant and they've taken over parks, but it is an issue. And it was laid upon his heart to bring it to our attention that it is individuals out there. And so I want to remind all of us on the council and the community that these are our local residents. As a town council member, we're required to provide services and to support our local residents. And they're unhoused, they're homeless, but they're also our responsibility as a council to provide them the tools and the support they need, just like any other member of our community. So I really I'm glad to see that your desire is compassionate services because they need to know that people care, that we love them. I remember as a teacher, we used to do a project with my AVID program about a shoebox for the homeless. And we did it for different age groups and so forth and put them together. And then my students, on their own wrote personal notes and telling them that they cared about them and hopefully this will brighten their day. And I got report back that one of those individuals kept that for a long time, and it made them feel like, okay, if somebody out there cares about me as much as they say, I need to start caring about myself. And so they went out and got the services they needed. They learned how to interview for jobs and so forth, and they were a success story. So I think a lot of times people just need a lift up and some compassion. And then also as a council and a community, we also have responsibility for the safety of our community. And we've had homeless encampments that have caused brush fires. And we've had homeless issues where people are hanging out at our local businesses and driving away business. Somebody coming up, going to want to walk into a fast food place and there's a bunch of homeless people encamping, they're going to go on and move somewhere where they feel maybe a little bit safer. And when you said a deputy, you're talking about the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department joining you in this project.
Yes, it's been the quality of life deputy.
Okay, wonderful. The last thing, and I know you're just starting the program and a lot of things, I would like, because we see in the state of California, they do a lot of programming or put in money, but they don't really have what we call, maybe it's my teaching, the benchmarks and the scorecard. So if we could develop perhaps in that, our success, how many sites got cleaned up? Maybe they're not there, but how many sites did we eventually get cleaned up with the cooperation of the owner, the landowner? How many people were rehoused, and how many people were given medical aid? Those kind of statistics will let us know that we are really reaching the people that need it.
Yes, and I actually didn't include it in the report, but I do have the numbers off the top of my head. I have personally had meaningful engagements with over 40 individuals in Yucca Valley. Over 20 of those individuals have allowed me to make referrals, so that's to different programs. 5 of those individuals were placed in a housing program, and 2 of those people were successfully placed into transitional housing.
Fantastic.
And then we do have currently 19 identified and verified encampments. And when I say verified, it's, we saw it, we know it's not just dumping out in the middle of the desert. I'm trying to remember the numbers for this one. We have 3 of those encampments have been resolved. One individual, I went back the day after I made the initial interaction and they were completely gone. We are working on with our property owners to make sure, if they do have encampments on their property, that they have the tools necessary to be able to make sure their properties are safe too.
Wow. Well, I'm impressed you know those numbers right off the top of your head there. So congratulations. Thank you so much for representing our community with compassion, and it's making a big difference. So yes, go ahead, Councilmember.
Thank you. Before you wrapped it up, I just wanted to mention one more thing. I was thinking of the kids, but also the adults and the food insecurity that we see at places. Have you worked with the Way Station? They do about 3,500 meals a month for locals, and they're also in the process of doing something that would dovetail into some of the comments the mayor made with showers and bathrooms. So I want to make sure that's a resource that we tie into.
Yes, definitely. And I'm very familiar with the Way Station. I've been doing homeless services for a number of years now in the Morongo Basin. And I just haven't been able to get out there in this capacity since taking over. But I will start more outreach in Joshua Tree, as that will be part of my responsibility for the point in time count.
I think as you heard from the resident here from the Gates of Spain, there's so many people wanting to jump on board and help you pull the line. So
yes,
it's about a team thing. So
yes,
thank
definitely.
You. Thanks.
Well, congratulations and thank you. We'll receive and file if there's no other discussion. All right. Well, thank you very much for those numbers. Appreciate it. We'll move on to our next department meeting, which is off-highway vehicle public safety update.
Thank you, Mayor. Council, let me just give you a little bit of background as we enter into this item. Off-highway vehicle use is common and valued recreational activity around our rural community like Yucca Valley, especially with assets like the Johnson Valley recreational area in proximity. At the same time, the frequency of OHV activity generates ongoing public safety, enforcement, and quality of life concerns that require a coordinated attention. from law enforcement and our partner agencies. So tonight, Sergeant Berman and his team will provide a brief overview of the current OHV-related activity, enforcement efforts, observed trends, and key considerations affecting public safety, and then be happy to answer questions after public comments. So, Sergeant, if you want to take it away from here.
Hello. Unfortunately, our Captain Steve Scoville was unable to attend tonight, so I'm filling in for him. It's been a long time coming. We've been trying to get this off the ground for some time now, and one of the pioneers who've been helping us do this is right here, our very own Deputy Alex Camacho. When you hear Faith talking about some of the quality of life deputies, she's basically talking about Alex here. So again, thank you, Alex, for what you're doing for the community and helping us out. Like I said, it's been a long time coming, trying to get this thing off the ground, and thank you to everyone in the town with your support. And just to give a little more insight on this will be our very own Alex Camacho.
All right.
Well, thank you and welcome.
Thank you. Oh, there we go. Can everybody hear me?
Yep.
A little bit better. Just a little background to me. I've been a deputy for about 9 years, been up here for about as long. I had family that lived up here. My father was up here for 15 years as a deputy, so it's a community that's near and dear to my heart. I grew up riding around here in the Johnson Valley area. Everybody knows the Dry Lake Bed and areas like that. So I know OHV very well. I know there's a difference between riding safely and within the law and then riding through neighborhoods and causing a ruckus. So that's my focus tonight, is that with this new position, it takes a lot of pressure off patrol, because with patrol in itself, they have calls for service that take away from deputies, so response times can be slow. Looking at the numbers over the past 3 years, we've had over 400 illegal calls for service that were generated, 150 through August 2025 through August 2026. So when we break down that number, the patrol deputies are spending about an hour and a half on each of those calls. So by creating this position, I can focus directly on these type of OHV enforcements, going into the communities, going into these neighborhoods where these dirt bikers are trying to access off-roading areas, and that's where my job comes into play a lot. By creating this position, it not only ensures that I can deal with OHV problems within the community, I can also help out Faith, because a lot of stuff in a lot of those areas are hard to reach. So having a deputy dedicated to this OHV program, it helps, because I can also help Faith in the town in helping their goals as far as homeless outreach also. We've had multiple OHV enforcements that have been funded through the state, where we've had up to 15 personnel on either OHV vehicles and patrol vehicles and such as that, so that we can enforce all those laws that we have, right? So we have deputies and side-by-sides that, of course, have lights and sirens on them. So when you see the big old sheriff, that's us. Don't call on us. Call on the people that don't have that sticker on there. But that's our main goal, is that through these major enforcement actions, which we're going to have more throughout this year, because the months are getting cooler, which means there's going to be a lot more off-roaders. So the nice thing about my spot is it gives me the flexibility to take my truck, grab an OHV, go to these areas that we're having problems, and then I can focus on those areas and take away from patrol so that I can focus on them. It's no longer a patrol deputy with a long response time, because our area is so huge. It's a huge desert, so having a deputy that's dedicated specifically to this OHV enforcement helps that response time hopefully cut in half or even more, right? I can get into those spots. I've stayed late nights, I've stayed early mornings specifically for OHV stuff. So I'm hoping with this position, obviously it's a newer position with our station. Just like Faith's position, it's really getting off the ground. So starting fresh is good, but it's also a challenge because there's a lot to it. So I'm super happy to be in this position. I'm more than happy to help everybody here, and I'm hopefully can make a difference in the community with the OHV, because the saying for a long time was, you live in the desert, there's OHVs, you got to deal with it. Well, we'll deal with it where they can legally ride, and then where they're not allowed to ride, that's where I step in. So hopefully with all that, I can help everybody out. Appreciate it.
Hey, Deputy, if you might be able to provide a little bit of color for the council and the community on some of the specific concerns that were raised over in the Acoma Terrace neighborhood, some of the areas there, that'd be terrific.
Yes, so I was contacted by multiple residents because I was in the area for OHV riders already, and then it was brought to my attention about the fire in the Acoma Hills. So I've been working, going door to door. I've gotten a couple, I won't speak into evidence I've gotten, but I've gotten some evidence as far as what's going on up there. So it's been targeted to OHV riders and things like that. So I think I've spent the last 2 days I would say over 50 miles worth of off-roading just to figure out what's going on up there, talking to the community, because I know that is a big area, a lot of dry brush, and we got to make sure everybody's safe. So speaking on that and being able to dedicate my time to that. I would say more than half my day these past 2 weeks have been dedicated specifically to that. Obviously, we can't solve every crime, but we definitely try our best, and that's what I'm trying to do. So by being in the area, showing our OHVs, even just the presence, going to the schools, educating the kiddos on OHV writing and tools like that, it really helps a lot. So I've had good reception from a lot of parents and a lot of students and people who ride from that area. So I know there's growing concern with that. Residents is nearby, so hopefully me being out there, showing the badge per se will help alleviate that and also conduct those enforcement actions.
Very good. Question?
We'll take council member questions after public comment. Anything else to add on the hours that have already been dedicated to the program here locally?
Oh, no, like he mentioned, just we have been getting several arrests. Even prior to this, we're doing specific targeted areas with overtime. And we've been encountering people taking back roads, basically smuggling drugs, paraphernalia, you name it, weapons. And we've been getting a lot of arrests out of this. So we've been catching them by surprise with these OHV projects. And it's been a huge success. And a lot of credit is to our own Deputy Camacho. He's not going to toot his own horn, but like he mentioned, has 9 years on. He's a field training officer. He's mate certified, basically. He's a traffic guy also. On top of that, he used to be one of our school resource officers. If you maybe have recognized him, he was doing the SRO gig for about a year or so, or 2 years. So he's not going to toot his own horn like that, but we have the best possible deputy for this position, and he's doing an excellent job. So I can't emphasize that enough. So thank you again, Mr. Camacho.
Thank you. Deputy, if you'll step to the side, we'll have community come up and ask some questions. Is there anyone online that's waiting to ask a question of our officers? All right. And Brooke, is there anyone who's made a request to speak?
I don't have a request to speak on this, but.
Okay, so.
Benanzi, I'm one of the ones that's going to make a comment later.
Okay, wonderful. Yes, if you give us your name and place of.
My name is Allison Benanzi, and I live on Golden Bee, where 2 of the ATV firecracker arsons have happened. And that's what I'm going to comment on later. So first of all, I was going to ask if the deputy could hand me his card.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
Okay. We have the ATVs going back behind, or it's really in the front of my house, back and forth. And on August 6th of this year, we had, my husband witnessed it walking my dog behind on the trails, and he saw the ATV with 3 juveniles giggle and laugh, and then shoot off a firecracker, which then proceeded to burn the area behind our houses in Threat-Nakoma and Golden Bee. And he witnessed the whole thing. And we witnessed waiting for the fire trucks to come out. And I want to say kudos, first of all, to our fire department. They have saved our house twice now from ATV firecracker use. The year following was July 23rd. I was out on my back patio. I heard the firecrackers go off. I heard the kids on the ATVs. We had people in our neighborhood out with their hoses trying to save their houses. I am concerned about the ATVs and the arson. So when it comes to more than just, going around the area and getting ATVs for drug paraphernalia and all that kind of stuff, I'm sorry. I want to save my house. Who are these people selling their kids firecrackers? These are where my questions are going to come up during the comments, because that's why I got my neighborhood gathered here today, some people from the neighborhood, to say the same things over and over again. We need help.
Anyone else would like to come up, please introduce yourself and your place of residence, and we'll give you 3 minutes to speak. Appreciate you being here tonight.
Right, thank you. Excuse me. My name is Jim Foote. I and my wife have lived at the west end of Kismet Road for more than 23 years now and have witnessed considerable OHV use on our street for all of those years. I have observed dirt bikes and all-terrain vehicles, as well as 4x4s such as pickup trucks, using Kismet Road to access a network of dirt roads and trails beyond the west end of Kismet Road. The vast majority of the dirt bikes and all-terrain vehicles are not street legal. On a regular basis, they greatly exceed the posted speed limit of 25 miles per hour. What often appear to be young men below the age of 18 are not accompanied by parents or guardians as required by law. My guess is that most of the dirt bikes and ATVs do not possess a green sticker, as also required by law, for off-highway use. So before they even get off Kismet Road, they've likely committed several infractions. But I have not raised these issues with the town council before tonight, as they have not directly affected the safety of my family and home. However, the wildland fire that occurred to the west of us on August 6th was too close for comfort. Uncontrolled vehicle access to a drought-stricken desert can lead to wildland fires, whether operators use the desert as a shooting range, the outcome of which can be sparks created when bullets strike rocks, whether operators use the backcountry for setting off fireworks, or whether hot exhaust pipes come in contact with the expansive and dried out non-native grasses that now blanket the desert floor. My career with the Bureau of Land Management has shown me that signs and barricades alone rarely work when it comes to controlling OHV use. Absent the on-the-ground enforcement, OHV users often ignore signs, drive around barricades, or simply destroy them. For example, it was maybe 20 years ago that Carsonite signs were installed at the west end of Kismet Road indicating a prohibition of off-road vehicles. Well, of course, these were destroyed in short order. So several human-caused wildland fires in our area have threatened our homes and families in the last couple of decades. I fear the day when wind conditions are just right to carry a fire into our neighborhood. I hope that something can be done to reduce the risk of wildland fires from uncontrolled OHV access to our desert landscape. Thank you.
Thank you. And the next person who would like to speak, come right up, introduce your name, place of residence, and when you're done, we'll give you the 3 minutes. Thank you.
Good evening.
Hi.
My name is Sharon Motley, and I'm here on behalf of my daughter-in-law, Kimberly Hooper Davis, who is out of town. She did express a message to give to the town council. Thank you for hearing what I have to say today. I live in Juniper Terrace in Yucca Valley. In July of 2025, I watched a fire with licking flames over 2 stories high race towards my home. About 5 minutes before this, I had been cooking for my family and visiting in-laws, listening to Billie Holiday, enjoying a quiet summer night while the rest of the family was stargazing in hammocks outside. All of that was destroyed in an instant. A group of people shot fireworks on the corner of Elk Trail and Golden Bee at around 9 p.m. that night. Within seconds, a fire exploded. The people who set off the flames took off on dirt bikes and ATVs and circled the road, scattering in different directions. Excuse me. Neighbors came out with shovels to dig a brake line. Others went door to door waking folks up and warning them of the fire. I evacuated my pets, mother-in-law, and her sister to a friend's house while I frantically gathered family photos, important records, and my adult children's artwork from school. I stood looking at my home, imagining it would be the last time I would ever see it, and then focused on packing while my family dug the brake line and hosed the brush near our property line. The fire got within 20 feet of our home before it was put out. No one ever held accountable. Folks had emergency room visits that night from smoke inhalation. In the coming days, news of the event was misreported. Law enforcement was rude and dismissive, and we were left with no answers. We still have folks who shoot off fireworks. Every time I hear a dirt bike, I'm going down the road, my heart seizes, and I know that I have PTSD from that night. I have spent time and money in therapy processing what happened. Sometimes hearing a dirt bike brings tears to my eyes. And I have to tell myself we are safe for now. As an impacted resident, it seems like these incidents are not taken seriously. There's a lot of lip service from law enforcement about working to find out who is guilty of the fire. I'm speaking out to say that we need harsher consequences for people setting fires engaging in dangerous activities like setting off fireworks. We also need a siren system like a tornado warning to notify folks of a fire nearby so people have time to evacuate as safely as possible. My hope is that with harsher consequences, folks will think more twice before being reckless, and when that's not enough, a warning system be put in place. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Good evening, council members. My name is Debbie Smith, and I live here in Yucca Valley on Golden Bee in the Juniper Terrace neighborhood. I've lived here my entire life. I was going to speak at the end at the comments section, but it's on the same topic that the two last people have been speaking on. And I just wanted to voice my concerns as well. I wanted to thank you for your time and consideration tonight. So the last 3 years have been scary. We've been really lucky. We've been blessed because we have had 3 fires in that neighborhood, all related to the off-road vehicle and to fireworks. I want to say kudos to the department because every time I have called, because I've always walked my dogs back on those trails and so forth, and every time that I have called, you guys have come out to check it out and see who's back there and try and get a hold of him. And it's a tough job. You've got your work cut out for you, so I want to thank you ahead of time. You know, this desert, it's one of our most beautiful resources, and we've been lucky that there have been no homes lost, no loss of life, no pets lost. But this is a working community, and we have all sorts of people that are not at home, and their animals are locked up in their homes or in their yards and not able to get away safely if something were to go wrong and the fire department wasn't able to come out and put out these fires. I think it's a linked connection between illegal off-road vehicle use and delinquent behavior with fireworks. That, you know, I mean, what do you do to, parents have to be accountable. If my understanding is correct, that area south of Golden Bee is within the city limits, which makes it illegal for riding motorcycles. Is that correct?
When it comes to certain laws concerning it, yeah, especially when they have access to the public roadways around it, 100%. It's
Yeah.
a marked road, which leads to the water.
Okay. It hasn't always been that way. I know this is something that happened maybe over the last 10 or 15 years where that law went into effect.
When you go into deeper where it's unmarked, that's where it gets trickier. That's where you get into green stickers, where we get into where they're allowed to ride per the green stickers.
Okay. I know signage is posting signs doesn't work out here in the desert, just like putting up fences many times doesn't, because people they vandalize these things. I'll leave that into your hands to know what best to do.
You'll have just a few more minutes there.
Okay. I'd like to promote community awareness in some way other than just at these meetings. And I'd also like to ask that we educate the youth to help them be better than maybe they have been acting.
Thank you so very much. We appreciate it.
I'd just ask for your help in that.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
very much. Thank you. Anyone else would like to speak, come forward if you haven't spoken on this subject yet.
Good evening. My name is Stephen Dreher. I live at 8219 Amador in Story Park. I wasn't directly affected like they were, but I'm one of these kind of people that follows the crime tracker regularly. And in Story Park, there's probably 3 or 4 places that get almost daily calls. I'm sure the sheriff department knows where they are. 8500 Choya is one of those. So it is a constant issue with whoever is going in there. Could be the same people that started this or not. I have heard from a resident that when the parents were spoken to, they were intimidated. I mean, the person talking to them was intimidated by the parents. This always comes from a family. These aren't just kids acting like this regularly. The town dodged a bullet that night. If the wind had gone in another direction, we're talking about a possible fire at that nursing facility, and we'd be looking possibly at homicide here. That was lucky. It was a windy night. It didn't go there, but the fire was right across the street from that nursing facility. In fact, the woman that was working there that night was out in the parking lot spraying it down. So that's how concerned they were. I really appreciate what Deputy Camacho brought up, and I think that a bigger plan needs to be looked at because the town is going to grow. LA is unlivable. There's going to be people coming out here. And I think there's the area that was burnt, this is all private property. I think perhaps a plan working with property owners to monitor better, to file complaints. I know the signs don't work, but maybe we ought to be thinking about a general plan. I know when I was working in botany for the Forest Service, they had areas they called sacrifice areas. It was horrible, but I would do botany surveys on these sacrifice areas. So, I mean, you know, because another attitude I hear here a lot is, especially online, is, well, it's the desert. And I'm thinking, well, yeah. I mean, you could say it's a forest, or it's the river, or, you know, it's the earth. So I feel also locally there's a lot of disdain for the desert, especially coming from the dirt bikers. I think we could use better education, especially in the schools, because these are where the dirt bikers and the ATV guys are coming from. And I think the kids might really learn something more from that. So I think we need an attitude adjustment. I think working with private property owners to get a control over where's a good place and where's not a good place. And I hope we get some sort of law enforcement action against who started that fire. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Wonderful. We've had a lot of great input. Is there anyone else before we bring it back to our council? All right. Seeing and hearing none, we'll bring it back to the council.
We have one more.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. And if there's anyone online, let me know, please. Thank you, sir.
Hello, my name's Robert Hark, and I play softball down at the softball fields. And I just recently found out that I play on Wednesday nights, and they drag the field and prep the field on Tuesdays and Thursdays, but they don't do it on Wednesdays. Is there any way we can get them to drag the field and prep it on Wednesday? Because it's getting dangerous with the potholes and the sand buildup around the bases. It's
Okay. We're going to have public comment at the very end on items other than off-roading. So right now it's just off-roading.
Oh, I apologize.
But no, that's okay. That's okay. We'd love to hear from you, and so I'll have you come back up.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much. Anyone else on the off-roading issue? Come on up, please. Thank you. Yeah, and if any of the other topic that's not on the agenda you'd like to speak on, if it comes to your mind, you'll be able to do that during the public comment section that's coming up pretty soon. Thank you.
Do I need to hit the button?
We're good.
My name's Sherry Novak. I live in Story Park. And for 9 years, I have called the off-road number. I've dealt with Deputy Camacho. We have a pervasive problem out there. Our street is like a gateway to the larger property at the end of the street on Choya, which is owned by a developer. The road where the fire happened, you can see the damage to the property. If you look south from the Jelly Donut, you can see the trails that they've blazed over the years. It's a pervasive problem. The end of June, 1st of July, we had a neighbor that lived across the street, and they had been showing their little boy, who had been selling lemonade out in front of the yard, how to ride his dirt bike on our street, back and forth, completely unsupervised. He ran the stop sign at the end of Desert Gold and rear-ended a lady she narrowly missed running him over on Amador. Parents weren't anywhere around. Now, my understanding is to ride the streets, you have to have a driver's license. I don't think a child around the age of 9 has a driver's license, and he certainly shouldn't be running up and down the streets in our neighborhood. I'm not sure how this is going to be solved, because by the time I make the call, they're long gone. They're out in the desert where you guys can't go. So, as I said, it's a pervasive problem. It has gone on for years and years and years. I'd like to be able to sit in my backyard and enjoy some peace and quiet, but I don't always get that. When school is over with and on the weekends, it is just awful. When your presence is known out there, I have a few days of peace. It's been very peaceful for the past, I'd say, week, and I really appreciate that. But something needs to change. I don't know if it's signage. I don't know if it's making the property owners responsible. I don't know if it's putting liens on properties that they're not cleaning up. We have to take care of our properties and do fire mitigation on our own properties. These surrounding properties shouldn't be able to get away with not doing the same. Thank you.
Thank you. Wonderful. Anyone else? Excellent. Well, thank you for the input. We'll bring it back to our council. Ask any questions or comments. I'll start on this side this time. Councilmember Drodes, any questions or comments?
Thank you, Deputy Camacho. I appreciate it, and I'm glad you are starting to work on this and get a hold on it, but I know it's impossible to be everywhere at every time. But I do want to ask about, like, if people have Ring doorbell cameras and they can voluntarily give you footage of the vehicle, would that help, like, finding out where the people live?
Yes.
And would that be proof?
Yeah, I've gotten a couple videos from a couple residents that have provided me with the off-roading in the area, so hopefully that'll lead me to more evidence, but it would help a lot. The Ring videos are huge. I know sometimes they zone them out, but anything works. Even stuff from the day or the days leading up to it and the days after it help because it'll show what's in the area. So if anybody has that, yes, I would love to have that.
And have you been able to track down, like, where some of these vehicles are coming from, or is that?
I don't want to speak on that only because it's an active investigation, but I will say that there has been identifications made of the type of vehicles that were there during that day. And I know I've spoke with the one who said her husband was walking her dogs. I spoke with him directly about what he saw, so that was a huge help with that.
Great. Well, thank you. I appreciate all you do.
Appreciate it.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Yeah, thank you for the report. Excellent, enlightening, and the public comments are well received and enlightening too. I'm a little bit curious about what your fleet is. What vehicles do you use when you're out there? I know years ago there were a few dirt bikes, but that's got to be better now.
We got way cooler stuff, I'll tell you that. So I have a Ram 1500 with off-roading tires. So if you see a Ram 1500, I'm one of the only ones that drive it. I want to say I'm the only one who drives one of those. So if you see that riding around, I can get to most spots that off-roaders can get to. I have a Polaris Pro R, which that thing tops off over 60, 70 miles an hour. So that's definitely, nobody's getting away from me when it comes to that. I also have a Razor 1000, which helps. But those are our three main ones. We have the Tahoes that can obviously reach areas too, but what I usually do is I'll tow it with my truck. I have an F-250 diesel also, so I'll tow the Pro R in the back, deploy where I need to, and I'll be off and running from there.
Okay, good. Thank you. Good to know that you can get back there.
Yep.
Okay, thanks.
Wonderful. Councilmember Dennison. Any questions?
I want to say thank you for the program. You know, we had the motorcycles for a long time, and they were very agile and helped make a difference. And so today I do see your off-road vehicles regularly patrolling the areas, And it's a large desert, so I know it's kind of like a needle in a haystack sometimes to try and find that. I've been an off-roader my whole life. I understand the lifestyle, and I understand some of the challenges you have. So I'm all with your program, full support. I appreciate your work you're doing in the community, and certainly some of the residents have already spoken that they've had contact with you, and that's a good indication that it's starting to get traction. Thanks.
Thank you. Councilmember Lombardo.
Deputy Camacho, thank you for your presentation. I had some questions about, are you involved in any educational activities at the high school or lower grades that help the kids understand how to legally ride off-road? And is that something that we should put more resources toward in the future? Because I'm kind of a believer in prevention, which would be education.
Yeah.
And I definitely encourage you to find these people that were setting off the fireworks and causing a fire hazard for our community. I think that's a top priority too. But I appreciate what you're doing, and I know that you're working hard towards this. But can you expound on any of the educational activities that you think might be useful either now or in the future?
100%, yeah. As an SRO, the kiddos are super impressionable, right? It starts at a young age. When you have that presence for law enforcement there and teaching the right ways to do things, it goes a long way. It'll say, hey, mom and dad, I'm not supposed to do that, right? Because the parents are like, just go out, go do what you want to do, and, we'll call me when you need help, right? But talking to the kiddos, giving them educational, going to the schools. I know investigating this fire, I've gone to Yucca Valley High School, and I've gone to the middle school just talking with kiddos that I know right in the area from my past experience. It does help a lot. I contacted the parents, and most of them are in agreement with me, hey, you know what? At this point, if enforcement needs to be done, we're on board with it. So I haven't had any resistance as far as from parents that are on board with helping us with this. I would definitely say a program at the school, just educating them, talking to them, even bringing the OHVs to them would be huge. Definitely something to work on and something I'll add on my notes for sure. I would think that would be a key part in preventing a lot of this stuff.
Okay, well, thank you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate everyone's questions. Some of those got answered. I'm going to ask you a few others. So first of all, if you have a name Camacho and your dad's a local legend, you have a lot to live up to. And it seems like Camacho and motorcycles go together. So thank you for your service. Your dad was a great example of law enforcement, very well respected. Miss seeing him around, so thank you.
I don't know if everybody does, but.
Well, those on this side of the law, on the good side of the law, appreciate it. And please pass that along to your family. You guys are very well respected, and when I hear the name Camacho, there's only one person I think of. With that, your funding for the off-road vehicle funding comes from a grant that was given. And it is only, you only do the work during overtime hours, or does that grant cover your regular shift, or you can dedicate a portion of your shift that's not overtime to this project?
So when it comes to my position itself, it's specifically geared towards, we're not using grant funds, it's just straight, I guess you would say, patrol time, right? It's just specialized spots. So with my position, I can dedicate all my hours to that without needing the grant. So there's no, I can schedule adjust, I can change dates, and that's all just specifically towards this program. When it comes to those grants, when we get that funding, it's only for the overtime, because then we can get at least 15 deputies or more specific to that day to enforce that. But as far as my position in itself, it's a dedicated to OHV, homeless outreach, and quality of life within the community. So my hours just count as normal, I guess.
Wonderful. And your hours, do you split that between 29 Palms, the county, and Yucca Valley?
All of it. So that's the biggest hurdle that I have, is that I just cover from Morongo to Amboy all the way to Johnson Valley and to our southern borders too. So
yeah,
you cover a lot.
You cover a lot, yeah. And obviously, where the most population is, the biggest impact of the off-roading should take priority versus out further away where perhaps the environment's getting damaged and people are out there, but closer to residents and a negative impact should be placed on a higher priority.
Yes.
Do you, because of your enforcement, do you use heat maps, any kind of thing, to where you can start seeing a pattern of time of day, day of week, I'm always thinking, I know as soon as it rains here, which is not very often, I'm going to start hearing motorcycles right after the rain's done, because it's like primary dirt bike and off-roading time because, you know, they can get out there and kick up the mud and not have a lot of dust. Do you have a heat map? Do you use any kind of a strategy on your enforcement hours? Is it always reactive, or do you do proactive patrols?
I'll do proactive patrols, so I know that being in the SRO, when school gets out, you'll see me more in the afternoons and in the mornings because I know there's not going to be off-roaders in the area. It's always going to be after 2 o'clock, the high schoolers and such. So knowing those times in the community when stuff's going to happen, so as far as after school, you have the King of the Hammers, you have things like that. But growing up in the area, I think gives me advantage as far as knowing when the weather looks cooler. Like on a cloudy day, I know there's going to be riders, you know, and stuff like that. And I use CalTopo, I use the Pro version. So
Okay.
it's nice because I can track stuff, I can outline stuff, I can map major areas where I know it's going to happen. And then on top of that, I'm also a coordinator for search and rescue. So talking to locals in there too, they help me figure out where the OHV riders are and things like that. So I would say that growing up here, it has helped a lot. And using that mapping system, that program that I use, and going over the calls for service, because I can pull up specific to motorcycle calls and kind of see where the hot areas are and really focus on that. And obviously it's summer, so it's always going to be cooler times that they're riding. So I really try to focus on that. During winter, it'll be a different story when school's out for winter break. But as of right now, you'll see me more evenings, afternoons, and weekends.
Wonderful. And the tools that you have through the town of Yucca Valley, I'm not talking about the county, are adequate for patrol. So let me say, perhaps you go out there, you find an off-roader, youngster, you probably make contact. Once you make contact, you always get information on who you spoke to, where they're from, what their address is, if they're cooperative or not. And then you educate them that, you know what, I used to ride dirt bikes. My dad and I rode dirt bikes. It's a lot of fun. I can't fault you for that, but it's not allowed, and you are going to be cited, and you will end up having your vehicle taken. Those are the tools you have to enforce it, but it's usually, the first contact is education, getting, you know, description of the bike and all those types of things, correct? So that's those sort of the stepping stone approach you take?
And yeah, that's the main focus, is that, especially, well, in that area where the fire occurred, it's more of a strict enforcement as far as that. But
Okay.
in different areas, it's going to be the warnings and things like that, so that they know and can be educated. Hey, if it's kiddos, I contact the parents. I always contact the parents. Hey, I'm out with your son, I'm out with your daughter, they're on an OHV. These are the laws that apply, and just so you know, we have enforcement actions coming. I'm out here when you see me, and unfortunately, past this point of education is reaching an area where either I can tow the vehicle, you know, I can tow whatever's going on, I give you a ticket, I give the parent a ticket for the responsibility of it.
Yeah, that was my next question. So parents get ticketed.
Yep, and as far as like with fire, I can speak on that. I am doing a case on it, which can have felony consequences. And when that does happen, not only will the kiddos be accountable, but also the parents too. So at every step, the parents are always held accountable when it's kiddos, but we also have adults that off-road too. So when it comes to that, again, I would say adults obviously know the law more than kiddos do, so that's where there's more strict enforcement as far as a warning ticket to an actual ticket. And it goes so on and so forth.
And if I could just jump in really quick.
Sure, please do.
When we are having these projects, it is a zero tolerance with us. So everyone is getting cited, and if they're unlicensed and maneuvering any type of off-road vehicle, those are getting towed regardless of age. And some of these, you know, the heat mapping that you're talking about, all these calls for service that you guys are putting in, we kind of pretty much put those not to the side because we handle it as we can, but we note that and put it basically in a folder. So we have notes of all those times you guys called. So when we do have these enforcement operations, we could kind of go to, and we have kind of a corporal assigned to that who goes, okay, during these times, it looks like this area is getting hit. And during these times, this area is getting hit. It's not just Yucca Valley. It's obviously throughout the basin. So we do have to spread that once we do these enforcements, but those phone calls that you guys make, they do help, and we do note them, and we set those aside, not only for that day, but for future projects also. And I know I spoke about, like, we recover some drugs, guns, and stuff like that. During these projects, we also, it was zero tolerance as far as tickets. Every person that was maneuvering OHV, their vehicles were towed, so we had several tows along with that. So it's just not just drugs and guns that we're focused on. Obviously, we hear your guys' concerns. That's why we have a specific deputy just assigned to that. We're not waiting for overtime or grants or anything like that. We hear your guys' concerns. We appreciate your patience, and we're just trying to get it up and running. Obviously, Mr. Camacho is being pulled in all directions. So we have concerns about OHV, we have concerns about homeless encampments and noise complaints, you name it, he's handling it, and he's doing the best he can at this point. We'd love to get more deputies in that position, but it's always, the dollars, unfortunately. But we do try our best as far as patrol level to help him out, but he's doing an excellent job taking lead on this and guiding us through this, so.
Well, fantastic. Thank you. I do realize that this is a very important concern in our community, and that's why I asked the town manager to put this on the agenda so we could hear the residents and see that it's not just one or two people complaining. It's a real serious issue. And if people out there think that we're overreacting about the fire danger, just take a look at what happened in Spokane. And that can happen here, and it can spread from house to house to house to house, and we could have Story Park or some other area looking like some of those pictures, and we never want to go that direction. So we appreciate you, Deputy Camacho. I also wanted to put it on the agenda so people could know that we are doing something. So the statement that we're not doing anything would be incorrect, be a general oversimplification. We are taking it seriously, and I think you being here tonight helps really drive home the point that this is not going away and that it has to be addressed. So I appreciate it. One other thing before I pass it back to my council members, a press release. You have such cool equipment, collection of very good tools. It would make a wonderful article in the paper and on our radio station and so forth, getting not only pictures of you and the equipment, if you want to be in it, but the equipment, and also, as we just heard, it's a zero tolerance policy that there's going to be citations, there's going to be parent citations, there's going to be vehicles taken away. This is something that has been enacted quite a few years ago. Used to be the Wild West. We could all ride, and I heard old-timers talk about riding bikes down the middle of the road because it was still dirt road on Highway 62 and all that. Those days are long gone and so forth. And the fire and the safety concerns are precedent over the enjoyment of off-roading, which can be done in the designated areas. So just wanted to make sure that we had it on the agenda and we could discuss this item. Yes, Councilmember Rhodes.
Just one quick question. Is there any indication any of this is coming from vacation rentals and people coming with off-road vehicles, or they're provided?
Yeah, not that I've seen, to be quite honest. It seems to be mostly local.
Thank you.
And that could have a concern maybe in the Johnson Valley area or something where they're riding around, but those are dirt roads that aren't in the same category as the city streets.
Yeah, when it comes to Johnson Valley, that's all designated OHV as far as BLM land, so
Yeah.
that's all that's totally different, all federal.
The one other thing that we could possibly do, and thank you for your comment, but the one other thing we possibly could do, we talked about there's so many different properties. If you look at the property map, there are so many different owners. We have a hard time getting in touch with owners in the middle of town that are out of town or out of state owners. But there's also a lot of BLM land. And I've heard from some residents that the students or young people or whatever start to know when the shift changes are going on and so forth. Would it be important for the town to contact the National Park Ranger to go up there and patrol the BLM land during those shift change times or during those times of rain and so forth? Because I've seen the ranger's vehicle going that direction. Do we do that, or would the sheriff's department ask them to do that during your shift changes?
So I can definitely reach out to them. We work closely with them when it comes to our major events like King of the Hammer, so I can reach out to them. Their stretch as thin as we are, unfortunately. I think they only have a couple officers, I should say. So definitely they have staffing as far as that. So it just depends, because they cover Johnson Valley, they cover 29 Palms, they cover all the areas. So I'll definitely reach out to them and see if they can definitely do that.
Well, thank you. Appreciate that.
And really quick, as far as shift change, at least with the town of Yucca Valley, you guys were fortunate enough to provide us with coverage for a third deputy for coverage, which is basically during shift change, which is something unique that you guys have done for the Sheriff's Department, which provides service to your local residents. So there's never any downtime when someone's coming off. You guys have actually paid for a spot where there's a deputy in service at all times.
Well, thank you for that. Okay, appreciate it. Thank you again for coming. That's a receive and file. Thank you. We'll move to item number 18, Fall Winter Programming, Community Services Department.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This is the Fall/Winter 2026-27 Planned Programs Approval. The Town Council regularly reviews and approves the planned programs of the department prior to the publication of seasonal activity guides. The PRCC approved the program lineup at their meeting of August 13th, and the recommendation is that the Town Council approve the Fall/Winter programs and events presented by the Community Services Department. These programs and events that will be offered in the fall and winter, that's October through March, and will be promoted through social media, media advertisement, and customer direct mail. In mid-September, the Activities and Events Guide will be distributed to the community and posted on the town website. Of note is that the Fall/Winter Guide will not include programming details for the Yucca Valley Aquatics and Recreation Center. We are planning a special edition guide. It's being prepared as a feature publication to introduce the facility once an opening date has been established. The new YV ARC program details will be reviewed by the PRCC and will be coming to the council for review this fall. The CS team is with us tonight, and to kick off our presentation, I'll invite up our museum supervisor, Celeste Hildebrand.
All right, Celeste.
Good evening. I'm pleased to be here tonight to present some highlights of the High Desert Nature Museum's 26-27 Fall/Winter session. So beginning in October, the museum will be presenting The Journey is the Destination, 100 Years of Route 66. This exhibit celebrates the Route 66 centennial by taking visitors on a sensory journey. It includes the sights, sounds, and smells of Route 66 with photography by Brian Helder and Andy Romanoff, and 6 different sense stations developed with Sophia Colette Eric, also known as the olfactory contractor. The exhibit will be enhanced with community-lent memorabilia and custom-designed Route 66 shields. In January, the museum will be displaying Bombas, the natural history of bumblebees, which brings to life the beauty, ecological importance, and joy of California's native bee species. Finally, in March, the museum will host its annual recycled art exhibition, Wondrous Waste, which spotlights community artwork created from recycled, reused, and repurposed materials. Museum staff have developed events and programming designed to enhance learning and deepen visitor connections to these exhibits. So starting off with The Journey is the Destination, we will have an opening reception, which will include a presentation and question-answer session with photographer Andy Romanoff, as well as a brief presentation from Sophia Colette Eric on the use of olfactory components in museum exhibits. Our annual Spooktacular event, which annually we have about 800 to 1,200 participants, will also be geared towards Route 66. This is done in conjunction with the Recreation Department, and we are hosting a haunted carnival and car show. We have 2 educational opportunities accompanying the Route 66 exhibit. The first is a hand lettering workshop, which is led from Derek McDonald. He is with Golden West Sign Arts, and this pays homage to the iconic hand-painted business signs which dot Route 66. We will also have a more in-depth presentation from Sophia Colette Eric titled Discovering the Sensory Heritage of Route 66. Moving into winter and early spring, we'll have two programs accompanying our Bombos exhibit. The first one is a presentation with local entomologist Scott Hecox, and this is on bees of the Mojave Desert and beyond. And this will be accompanied by a family STEAM day at the museum in which participants can learn how to make a native bee house. Just as a reminder, the museum is closed for plumbing renovations for a few weeks at the end of September. During this time, the museum staff will also be doing the exhibit change as well as some deep cleaning on our permanent exhibits. So I just want to thank you for having me here tonight. And now I'm going to pass it over to Tommy Jones with the Recreation Department.
Thank you, Celeste. I'm Tommy Jones. I'm the Special Events Coordinator for the town. And we have some very exciting special events lined up for the fall-winter season. The Sheriff's Department puts on National Night Out, usually in early October, and the Recreation Department always participates. We have a booth and we do some fun things there. Then we have our Murder Mystery Dinner on Saturday, October 10th, and that is a ticketed event. We usually have roughly 100 people present, and our capacity is 100, so we usually sell out. And then, like Celeste said, we do the Halloween Spooktacular in conjunction with the museum on Saturday, October 24th. And then we have our signature event, the 8th Annual Yucca Valley Film Festival, 3-day event from Friday, November 6th to Sunday, November 8th. And then we have our Veterans Tribute this year. On even years, Yucca Valley hosts. On odd years, City of 29 Palms hosts, so it's our year, and that will be held here at in the parking lot of the community center on Wednesday, November 11th. Next, we'll have our tree lighting ceremony at Founders Plaza. We did it for the first year at Founders last year, and we're very excited to do it again, and that'll be on Wednesday, December 2nd in the evening. Next, we have our winter holiday celebration, which has a lot of things going on in the community center complex, including a craft fair that has 53 craft fair vendors. Registration actually opens Tuesday, September 8th. And we sell out in the first 24 to 48 hours, all 53 spots. We usually end up with a wait list, so very excited for that. And then we also have Santa visits in the Joshua Tree Room. And then we have Snow Play Day on the North Lawn. We have 80 tons of snow brought in. It's very exciting. And then museum will have their craft in the museum. The Chamber hosts their annual light parade on Saturday, December 12th. And the Youth Commission usually has a float in the parade. And then to cap off our fall, winter, early spring, we have our Easter extravaganza on Saturday, March 27th. And that usually brings about 600 participants. And I forgot to mention, but the Holiday Craft Fair Winter Holiday Celebration usually brings over 1,400 participants and visitors for that day. So next, I'll hand it off to Kuba for sports and fitness.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'd like to briefly highlight some of the upcoming recreation programs and, more importantly, opportunities we're creating for our residents. One of our biggest focuses continues to be youth basketball. We start with our 3rd annual We Hoops Academy for ages 4 to 6 this September to October. This is an introduction class for our youngest ones, followed by our fall basketball skills clinic on Saturday, October 10th, with the partnership of the CMC basketball team, both women and men, for grades 1 through 8 to get our youngins, again, ready for our youth basketball league that is going to start in December. Practice is going to start December. We're going to start games in January, and they're going to continue through the end of February. I'm particularly excited about this season because this is going to be the last season that we're going to have our season without our dedicated recreation facility that we can call our own. So we did a very good job outsourcing local gyms, but having a brand new dedicated facility is going to create so much more opportunities for us to do more basketball, volleyball, and other sports as well. We'll also be continuing our adult drop-in program at the Boys and Girls Club, Wednesdays and Friday, very popular program. And then we'll also have a variety of dance and fitness programs this fall, including Dance Mojave Youth, Adult, Modern Dance, Adult Ballet, Better Fusion Pilates, Kids Rhythm and Bop, Intro to Gymnastics, and Tumbling Tots. And of course, once the recreation center gets built, all those classes are going to transition to our brand new facility, and we're going to have space to provide even more and more programs. Pickleball continues to be another growing area for us. From September to November, we'll offer morning, evening clinics, youth clinics, adult strategy workshops. Next spring, we'll also have a youth pickleball spring camp during spring break from March 29th through April 1st. And one of the milestones I'm really looking forward is the grand opening of the brand new facility right outside. This is going to take place on October 3rd. We're going to have drop and play. We're going to have a food court. We're going to have some food. Live music is going to be a lot of fun. And this facility is going to give us opportunity to expand clinics, leagues, tournaments, and other family events as this sport continues to grow. Finally, I'm looking at the spring. We'll host our Healthy Hearts 5K run and 2K health walk on Saturday, March 13th. Another great opportunity to bring families together and promote health and wellness. Last but not least, our adult softball is going to continue from spring. In spring, from March until June, we're going to have 3 nights, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of adult softball, very popular program as well. Overall, we're offering something for every age and almost every single interest. We're also building towards the future where our recreational facilities allow us to do even more programs in the future. Thank you.
Hello, Mayor and Council. My name is Jessica Kuna. I'm the Administrative Assistant here at the Community Services Department. I'm here to talk to you about some enrichment classes that we're going to be offering in the fall. So we have had a lot of these classes in place for many years now, such as stretch and tone, knit and crochet, and wood carving. So we're going to be continuing those in the fall. But we're also offering some newer classes, such as the ceramic and gardening classes. They have been really popular over the summer, so we're happy to continue those. We also have a variety of classes for different ages. From our Legomation class, where children from ages 5 to 10 learn coding. And then to CPR class, where participants ages 12 and up learn some life-saving skills. One of our most popular classes, dog obedience, which is instructed by Lori Herbel. That one is a fan favorite. It's pretty full most of the time, and we have some wait lists going on. She has a basic dog obedience as well as an advanced dog obedience class. As you can see on the slide there, that's one of the pictures from the dog obedience basic class graduation. So it's definitely a popular class. And then on the top there is our Legomation class, where the kids learn coding and make their own little robots with Legos. So that one's a lot of fun as well. Let's see here. The Community Services Department is happy to offer these classes to the public and hope to see people there. Thank you. Next is Nina.
Good evening, Council. My name is Nina McCullum, the Recreation Coordinator for our senior programming at the Desert Willow Center for Seniors. Our programming for winter will stay about the same. We offer our monthly calendar programming, but what you see on the list here is anything that we're adding new or just recently started or new for the fall. Our food pantry is back. We lost it about a year ago, but starting in July, we do now have our Senior Choice Food Program in partnership with Community Action Partnership. Our senior driving course, we just finished our first driving course tonight with cooperation with AARP. That will start again in November. July, we recently started our support groups for dementia caregiver and grief. We'll be adding additional classes for those in September as well. In October, we'll be starting a new program called No Contact Senior Cardio Boxing. That's going to be a program designed to help those battling Parkinson's disease and also those battling extensive problems with the cognitive hands and balance issues. Our fall rummage sale will be back again this year. That's very popular. We do that at least twice a year. Seniors would love it if we did it every month, but that's not possible, so twice a year. Mahjong. The Mahjong is going to be one of our new programs that will start in October again. Tech experiences, we're expanding our visual programming and education through the tech world with different video games and educational programs. And as you can see by the picture, I didn't put on the list, but our parties are very popular, so we'll have about 4 parties coming up, especially our Halloween party, which seems to be the hit of the year, and we'll be doing a grandparents rock party in September, and then a holiday party again at the end of the year. Thank you.
Very good.
And that concludes our report. We'd be happy to answer any questions following public comment.
Thank you, Sue. Anyone online would like to speak on this item? Anyone here tonight who would like to ask questions or speak on the our upcoming programming? Okay, a show of hands of anyone who's ever taken a class or done an event or come to the concerts in the park or been to any events here in town, the film festival? Okay, wonderful. Well, good. We'll bring it back to our council. Any questions? We have an update to receive and file, but you have any questions or input, go right ahead.
I appreciate the report. I can see the Community Services Department is in good hands. Well, you know, and sometimes I look around and I think, you know, that's a good hire, that's a good hire, that's a good hire. We've got a whole bunch of good hires right here, all of you that came up here. Awesome job, really good.
I have a question for Celeste, the museum coordinator. I have a constituent that has recently acquired some Frank Garsky stone sculptures, and he wanted to know the procedure for putting them on loan or contributing them to be displayed at the museum. Is there any way that we have the ability to do that kind of thing?
Yeah, he would just need to reach out to myself or our collections and exhibits coordinator, Charlie Rosso, to see if it's something that we can accommodate in the museum and the space. If it's a stone sculpture, the size and weight are
heavy, yeah.
huge factors in determining whether or not that's something that we could put on loan. So,
Okay. In the future, we have some plans that I've seen for expansion of the courtyard and the museum and that sort of thing. And there was opportunity, it looked like, to have an outdoor sculpture area, which I'd be very interested in seeing happen. I also have a Frank Garsky stone sculpture that I would like to contribute to the museum at some point in my career and have it on display for the community to view. It's a very beautiful piece.
and that expansion plan will come back to the council, hopefully in September.
And I'll be all in favor of it.
That'd be great. If people have that desire, they can reach out to you and you could evaluate where it might be appropriate to be used, or if we don't have the facilities to house it, so forth.
Absolutely. Or
Yeah.
we could also refer them to another organization that might be better suited to that piece.
That's fair.
Obviously, we're limited by our storage space. Right now, we currently do not have any additional storage space, so that is always a consideration.
Great. And then you would notify Parks and Recreation too, as if the large sculpture wanted to be donated, it could possibly be evaluated by Parks and Rec?
That would likely need to be something that gets evaluated by the public art program.
Okay.
If it's not
great
something
idea.
specifically museum-related.
Okay.
Anything donated to the museum has to go through an accession process, and it's essentially either a lifelong commitment to take care of that
Sure.
item and the monetary requirements that go along with that. So,
There's maintaining and protection and all those things. Okay.
yeah, so there's a lot of considerations when people want to donate items to the museum.
Thank you. Any other council members? Anything else? I saw that you used, and this is probably just a sidebar, but Sue, I saw that you used some local pictures instead of the canned pictures of recreations and activity in the guide. Will it be local people featured in the magazine or not? Oh, good.
Yes. So actually, I'm trying to remember when the last time we used stock pictures. We use our customers all the time.
Great.
So yeah, in recent memory, we've used all of our customer photos. So yes, we will
Wonderful.
continue
Thank
to
you
do
so
that.
much.
Yeah, it's terrific.
All right, if there's no other questions or comments, we'll receive and file. Appreciate it. We're looking forward to it. Tomorrow I'll be reading a book with the mayor, so the young kids at the museum will be watching me go through, I think I've asked for an age-appropriate book for myself, my reading level, so it's going to be very easy to follow along, but I'll be doing that tomorrow.
Will that be nap time for them?
Might put a few to sleep, but if we can get them all seated while I'm reading, that would be a big win. All right, we're going to thank you for that, and we're going to move on to our November 2026 general election information. Item number 19, staff report, please.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the Town Council. This item is to consider a resolution canceling the general municipal election for the town of Yucca Valley for Town Council Districts 1 and 3, and providing for the appointment of the sole nominees to the offices of Town Council member for those districts at the general municipal election on Tuesday, November 3rd, 2026. As prior review, on June 2nd, 2026, the Town Council adopted Resolution Number 26-14, calling and giving notice of the general municipal election to elect one person each from Council Districts 1, 3, and 5 to the Town Council for the full 4-year term. California Election Code allows the Town Council, when only one person has been nominated in a legislative district, to counsel the election in that district and appoint that person to office in lieu of election. In prior election cycles, the town had local measures on the ballot that required the election to proceed. In 2022, voters considered Measure K, and in 2024, voters considered Measures Y and Z. Although some town council candidates were unopposed in those elections, the town did not have the option to cancel the affected council races because the measures still required an election be conducted. This year, there are no measures on the ballot, and because only one candidate was nominated in Districts 1 and 3, Election Code Section 10229 authorizes the Town Council to either appoint the sole nominee or direct that the election be held for those districts. In accordance with the election code, the nomination period for interested residents to seek candidacy for the seat of town council opened on July 13th, 2026, and it closed on August 7th, 2026. During this period, the following residents filed the appropriate nomination papers and qualified as candidates. For District 1, Jim Schooler. For District 3, Merle Abel. For District 5, Rick Dennison and Dion Antic. At the close of the nomination period on August 7th, only one person was nominated in Districts 1 and 3. Election Code Section 10229 allows the Town Council to take one of the following actions for each district. 1, appoint the person nominated for that district, or 2, direct that the election be held for that district. A person appointed under the first option will qualify, take office, and serve a 4-year term exactly as if they were elected at the municipal election. If the Town Council adopts the proposed resolution, Jim Schooler will be appointed in District 1 and Merle Abel will be appointed in District 3, and the election in District 1 and 3 will be canceled. Canceling the November 3rd, 2026 general municipal election for Districts 1 and 3 would result in an estimated savings of approximately $30,000 in election-related costs. Staff recommends that the Town Council adopt the resolution canceling the general municipal election for Town Council Districts 1 and 3 and providing the appointment of the sole nominees of Jim Schooler for District 1 and Merle Abel for District 3 to serve as Town Council members for their respective districts at the general municipal election on Tuesday, November 3rd, 2026. That concludes my presentation. If you have any questions, I will take those after public comment.
Sounds good. Legal counsel, I have a quick question for you before we open it up to the public. From what I understood from our town clerk, that if we take the recommendation, we would do it each district separately in a vote? Or could you do it for
There's
both?
one resolution on your agenda tonight,
For
and you could
both.
do that by one motion and one vote.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to clarify. All right. Is there anyone here tonight who would like to speak on item number 19, general election cancellation?
I do have a request to speak from Miss Erin Gatlin.
All right. Aaron, come on up. Please state your name and place of residence, and after that, you'll have 3 minutes to speak. Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you, council and staff. Can you hear me? I don't know. My name is Erin Gatlin. This is my second public meeting of the day, so apparently governance is my day today. I'm really opposed to this particular resolution. There's a lot of pressure on the voting process and what happens when people vote across the country, and it includes efforts to make it harder for people to vote. This is really concerning because we are a participatory democracy, and voting, the act of voting, going to the voting booth, voting online, whatever, voting by mail, whatever you're doing, is a really important way that citizens can participate in the democratic process. And yet, the council is considering taking that right from people who live in districts 1 and 3. I did look very carefully at the information provided before the council meeting. I looked at the packet, and I looked at it twice, once here on my phone and then once at home. And I am not finding all the information about that indicates the fiscal impact. The information that I read online that's included in the package says no fiscal impact. So I want to make sure that that gets corrected in the future. And while you may be able to cancel the vote for districts 1 and 3, it's a bad look and not one that we want for the town and not one that I think you want as the council. It's a bad look because you're taking away people's opportunity and their right to vote, either to vote for their affirmed candidate. They're going to vote for the people that are currently on the ballot in districts 1 and 3, or the opportunity to write in another candidate. And that is something that is allowed in our democracy. It's allowed here, and we should give people the opportunity to do that. Thank you for your time today. I hope that you will consider not passing this resolution. Again, I think it's bad luck for us as a town, and it's a bad luck for you as a council. Thank you.
Thank you, Aaron. Anyone else wishing to speak? Anyone online? Oh, yes, come on. There you go. Hey, you're here.
Well, honestly and truly, I'm Melody Chambers, in case you guys need to know again. But I think passing this is a save of $30,000 that could benefit our community. So I think passing it makes more sense, because really, how many people are going to come out to vote for somebody they know that's already going to get it?
Okay.
Me personally, I wouldn't go out. So yeah, it is my right to vote, but it's also my right to choose not to vote. But the fact of being able to save $30,000 because we're not hosting this vote is smart. That's just smart business.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wow. Interesting.
Hi, Allison Bonanzi again. I just had to speak up on this issue because we are a town that holds a constitution, are we not? And part of that constitution is voting, correct? And I think that we should uphold our constitution and have the right to vote. And I agree that we have the right to write it in. And we also have the right to bubble in our favorite candidate. And whether it be you again, give me the honor to do that. And don't take my right away
Okay. Thank
of
you.
my bubble.
All right. Thank you. Anyone else? You're invited to come up. Anyone again online? John? Okay, thank you so much. I'll bring it back to our council. First of all, I would agree with both speakers in a lot of ways. I was thinking the same thing, like what's the harm in having the candidates on the ballot? Makes really very little difference to me whether it's on the ballot or not, until I heard $30,000. And then I thought, well, for some people it might be a bad look. Either way, $30,000, what I would consider a far shot in a write-in candidacy versus being on the ballot and wasting 30,000, or on the other side, having it on the ballot or not on the ballot. So I did some research on it because, again, I thought, well, what's the difference if we're on the ballot or not, unopposed or opposed and so forth. And I did some research and said in California elections, the overall success rate for a write-in candidate winning a seat in a general election is basically 0%. Says while thousands of candidates run write-in candidate programs across the state for federal and local levels, victory is considered beyond rare in California history and politics. So with that, then all of a sudden my view on it changed that I don't want to spend $30,000, even though it may not look good to some. But I think, again, we have to be good stewards of the taxpayers' dollars, and so I would support this resolution as drafted. When it comes to the Constitution, that's why we have legal, and state of California states this is an option, perhaps to save money for locals, local government or state governments to save funds by not having somebody on the ballot that's unopposed. So they did give us the tool, and we're in line with state election protocol. So anyway, any other comments or questions or statements or motions?
I agree with you also that the public comments were very engaging, and I hadn't thought of it taking away the right to vote, but it does. I too kind of think that the $30,000 savings for something that seems to be almost inevitable, which is the only candidate running, and is gonna take the seat. I guess this is probably a separate item I'll bring up in future agenda items about maybe we can look at alternatives to go back to at-large election, which I think will encourage more participation in the town council.
And when you mentioned about taking your voting rights away, I always said that districting really took away a lot of people's voting right, because now for school board, I only have one opportunity every 4 years to vote for one school board member, when I used to have every 2 years an opportunity to either vote for 3 or for 2. Then you multiply that for the water district, 3 and 2, and then you go to the hospital district, and then you go to the community college district. And they've taken away so many voting rights. And as we know, in a small community, our districts were pretty much the same. There's no big pockets of any particular groups that are not representative, because we're pretty well dispersed. So, yeah, I agree. California and voting rights are extremely important. So the districting issue, that's a separate one, but it has taken away people's rights to vote. And again, we would encourage people to apply to candidates during the open period to enroll and to be on the ballot. And all it takes is 20 signatures of a registered voter in your district to be on a ballot. So the threshold's pretty low. If you could probably very easily get 20 people to sign that you have a right to run. And so if there was interest for that, there would be probably more candidates. But I'll entertain any other comments or questions.
I agree with the comments, my fellow council members. I'm not a fan of the districts, the voting districts that's been in place since 2018. I think it's happened in our community is it's limited the number of people that come out. Right now we have 3 seats that are up for re-election, and before districting, we would have 7 or 8 or 9 candidates show up for those 3 seats, and people would feel like they had a chance to get one of those 3 seats. And I think it hasn't worked that very well. The districting has not worked very well in our community, and not just for city council and town council, but school board and college board and water district. All of those seem to be impacted negatively. by the districting. And negatively, I mean, not that many people are putting their name in the hat because they don't feel as though they have a chance to win. And so I'm not a fan of that. But given the reality of it, I think saving $30,000 makes sense. I agree that we do need to be good stewards of our finances, and if it's a foregone conclusion, then we should probably save the money.
I agree also, but I want to say that if we did not have districts, just the one person running right now, all three candidates would be on the ballot. So I'm against the districting. I think that kind of ruined a lot. I mean, I ran unopposed last time, and I think several other people did because they didn't live in our little district. If it was town-wide, anybody could run, and it would be an open election. Anyway, thanks.
And the only, just a little backstory, the only reason that we did go to districting was because of pressure through lawsuits or, forced to sort of comply in that area. All right, so we have a resolution for appointment of Districts 1 and 3, schooler and abled. Do we have a motion?
I'll move the item.
We have a motion and a second?
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Dennison,
Dennison, yes.
Rhodes,
Yes.
Lombardo,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Schooler, and Mayor Apel.
Yes. All right, thank you. Let's move on to our future agenda items. Is there anyone on the council who'd like an item placed on the agenda?
I would.
Okay.
I have a couple of ideas. First, I would like to talk about the idea of what information would we need to be aware of in order to try the process of going back to at-large elections for council. I think that's something that we should have a report on from staff and look at that. Is there anybody that would go along with me on that and have that brought up in the future?
I would, yes.
Yeah, I would like legal or staff to give us an idea of what alternatives, if any. Yeah.
Because it's involved. Then also, I'd like to see if there's support among the council in adding a future agenda item to review the town's current marijuana regulations, which prohibit all recreational and marijuana uses and activities in the town to the extent allowable under the state law. And I would like to know if we could get a review that would include an update on the practical applications of the current prohibition and provide alternatives should the council desire to change the current regulations. And I see this as necessary because in our area, there is other municipalities and other areas that are distributing marijuana within our community, and they are reaping the economic benefits at the expense of our local business and at the expense of our town revenues. Places such as Desert Hot Springs, Palm Springs, Apple Valley, and Lucerne Valley are transporting marijuana both legally to medical recipients and to other non-medical recipients by delivery. And there is the loss of revenue for our community because those monies are being taxed in other locations. And we do have a business in town that distributes medical marijuana legally and is an kind of out-of-the-way location. You can't go there and buy marijuana, and we need to look at those kind of things and see what should we put our local business people at a disadvantage, not being able to compete with areas that are delivering it to just local residents.
Okay.
So I need to see if there's anybody else that will support me on that and would have the staff look at alternatives and what might be a better situation for our distribution.
All right, I just want to clarify, because I have some of the same concerns you have as far as the practices, as far as delivery in the area. Are you talking specifically for us to possibly discuss the opportunity to just allow the local dispensary to deliver just?
Only delivery, not dispensary.
Okay, so.
Dispensary, you can walk in and purchase. I don't think I really want to approve that. I think our voters kind of voted against that sort of thing. But the state allows for delivery, and it allows for sale of medical marijuana. But what I'm trying to do is look at what our regulations are and see if we can deliver both medical and non-medical.
Okay. So,
capture maybe some revenue from it, because I see the future, the pool's going to require a lot more money than I think we are aware at this point.
Okay.
And I want to see that we're prepared for it in the future.
All right, yeah, I did look a little bit into that, because that is a topic that's been brought up to me as well and so forth. So medical marijuana was enacted by the voters back in '96. So medical marijuana, and then cannabis got legalized in 2016. It's 2026 now. And then delivery was allowed 2 years later. And we have that situation going on now, and in 2021, local municipalities are not allowed to block medical or legal cannabis being delivered. So I agree with you. We have delivery going on right now.
Yeah.
It's the state law. They're allowed to, and we have delivery coming, and those are coming from the low desert, not from our local distributor of medical marijuana. And sales tax is being lost by not having the delivery being allowed here. But I think more importantly, it's being delivered and sales tax is being generated somewhere else, but then also the employment of people is somewhere else. And so we have someone here that's willing to hire local people and so forth. The only concern I have is that we do have quite a few different things coming up on the future agendas, because we have short-term vacation rentals, outdoor lighting, open spaces, the hospitality and commercial zoning districts. We also have a review of the Old Town specific plan. We have the commercial industrial land development standards. Also, Planning Commission asked us to look at and reevaluate minimum square footage and evaluation of our parking agreement, because we built downtown parking to help alleviate the requirement for parking for our local businesses. So we have to evaluate the parking agreement and the business's use of Founders Plaza. So I think that right now we need to look at it in the future on the delivery. And I think it's already happening, and have a local person be able to provide it that hires locally would make sense. As far as a tax revenue, it'd just be sales tax. If we wanted to do a special tax, it would have to go on the ballot. So that could be discussed on what.
Those are things we need to discuss.
Discuss those. So, with that long list of things, I would say that we should look into it, the delivery.
Can I make one more comment?
Sure.
I'm just concerned that the local business will suffer in a way where they have to lay off people or close their business if they're not allowed to compete on a regular basis with the other things. So in a way, it's kind of timely, and having been a small business person in the past myself, I know that the bureaucracy of getting these things taken care of takes time, and time is money for a local business person. And it can lead to detrimental outcomes, and we could lose employment and a business, although it's one of those that business that somebody else will replace it, I'm sure, as soon as the laws change to allow it.
Yeah, but they've already made the capital improvements and
These people
investment.
are already operating. They've operated a safe and efficient business for a couple of years now at least, and
Could we have a staff?
them go away.
could we have staff write a brief report on it and what our choices might be? And then at that time, we could put it, prioritize where we want to put it on the
Yeah, if it's something that can
agenda?
easily be handled
Yeah.
by
Is that
just
all right for,
striking the medical portion from delivery services.
Yeah.
That might be an easy solution.
so we could have staff report back on,
Definitely.
and then we could decide how quickly and where we put it on our
List. We do
on
have
our
a lot of
list.
stuff. Looks like we're going to earn our money this time.
Yeah, that's right. And a lot of those are small businesses too, the Old Town specific plan, that's a lot of
Oh, it
businesses
is.
being affected.
We've got a lot of, I think, we've been good about that. We're trying to change the way we deal with local business so that they can do business.
Yeah,
And I want to see that as efficiently and as quickly as possible.
perfect. Councilmember Rhodes?
Whenever it fits on the schedule, I think it would be great to discuss it, but I would not want to leave off the dispensary part, the walk-in. I mean, I'd like to leave that on the table also and see what happens.
We need to talk about
I would
it.
never, personally, I wouldn't like anybody growing here, but a dispensary, yes.
Any other
A
comments or
business,
questions?
walk-in business.
So we have three people that, does staff need additional direction?
Well, I think what we heard from council this evening is your desire to have a technical brief provided to the council, and then from that point there, the mayor can decide whether to place that on the agenda or bring it back as a future agenda item.
Very good.
All right, thank you. Anything else? The districting one, that was the other one, right?
Yep.
All right, districting.
I don't know where that fits in, but
Maybe
we don't have to worry about it for a couple of years.
All right, that's true too. Yeah, that doesn't have to be, it's not time sensitive as much as the other items. All right, great. We're going to move on to public comments. Thank you for your patience, everyone. The town council takes this time to consider your comments on items of concern which are not on the agenda. When you're called to speak, please state your name and place of residence. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes. Inappropriate behavior which disrupts, disturbs, or otherwise impedes the orderly conduct of the meeting will result in a forfeiture of your public comment privileges. Town council is prohibited by state law from taking action or discussing items not on the printed agenda. And we had a gentleman who was wanting to speak earlier. Are you still here, sir? Let's put you to the front of the line, sir. Appreciate your patience. Come on up. Yes, just state your name and just your general area of residence. You don't have to give us your address. And once you do that, you'll have 3 minutes. Thanks again.
Yes, thank you. I am Robert Hark, and I do live in Yucca Valley. I play softball on Wednesday nights, and as I stated before, that the city preps the field on Tuesday night and preps the field on Thursday night, but they don't do it on Wednesday. And I'm just asking if there's any way possible they can prep the field on Wednesday also, because it's, a tore-up field, playing on a tore-up field is tough. And I've asked to volunteer, and they said I can't because they need a supervisor there and everything else. I'm retired. I have no problem going down there and prepping the field, but they said I can't. So that's what I'm asking for, if we could possibly get the field prepped on Wednesdays.
Wonderful. I'm sure someone from the town, communities, the Parks Department or so forth will contact you then. Do we have your
Yeah.
contact information?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Thank you
That's
so
it.
much, and thank you for participating.
Thank you very much.
Anyone else have anything that wasn't on tonight's agenda would like to speak about?
Mayor, I did receive a written public comment from a Mr. Benjamin Haywood prior to the meeting. I distributed that to council, and there's a copy available at the front clerk table. I have quite a few requests to speak. I think some may have left or have already commented, but I'll still call their name.
Yes, please do.
That's okay. So the first one is Melody Chambers.
Okay. Popular tonight.
We should put you on payroll.
Okay.
Be careful what you ask
We just
for.
saved
Can I
us
just be
$300.
volunteered? Or actually, it's called voluntold. Anyways, I'm Melody Chambers, and I live in the Gates of Spain Mobile Home Park at 7501 Palm. And we have a what's it called? Board for the Golden State Manufacturer Homeowners League. So it's called Gizmo. And so we're on the board, and I came to bring this up to you because I've lived there for 6 years. And in 6 years, I started there at $427 space rent. And since I've lived there for that long, it is now going up to $845. So we would like, as residents of the mobile home park, would like to see if you can do, let's see what he said here. Oh, Lord, his writing's worse than mine. But there's been a lot of members who have stated that they're going to have to sell their homes and move out because they can't keep affording the increase. Social Security gives us an increase, and then the owner does an increase. And it's really concerning because the way I read the bill is that if you're going to do an increase, it should also be because you've done improvements in the park. But there has not been any improvements of the park. I suggest they don't do it. And as you know, I'm vocal. So, but my concern is that we're going to end up losing really good residents because my next door neighbor is selling their house because of the increase. And in fact, they just sold it. So we want to know if you guys could help us stop this with putting a cap on not just our park, all senior parks, or rent control.
All right.
So I think that's the majority of it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Krista Wargo.
Thank you.
Hello, good evening. My name's Krista Wargo, and I'm a Yucca Valley resident, and we've already talked a bit about the OHV and causing fires. I want to talk more specifically about illegal fireworks and what local law enforcement is doing to prevent them from starting wildfires. As we all know, fireworks, including safe and sane fireworks, are illegal throughout the Morongo Basin. Here in the desert, where everything is so dry, even one tiny little spark can have devastating consequences. This summer, we've already seen multiple vegetation fires in Yucca Valley. On June 5th, a 5-acre fire near Yucca Valley High School was confirmed by county fire to have been caused by fireworks. Then another one on July 4th, burned about half an acre with fireworks found near the point of origin and suspected as the cause. And these aren't isolated incidents. We've had other vegetation fires throughout. The most recent one on August 6th at Choya and Golden Bee, and that one was just on the other side of our house. That was of the hill from our house. That was very scary. The cause at this point, I guess, is unknown. Thankfully, firefighters were there, able to put things out. No fires caused any loss of homes or anything. At the same time, homeowners are dealing with skyrocketing insurance rates because of, the fire situation in California is terrible. Some are seeing their policies canceled altogether. Many others are struggling just to find affordable coverage. We were just recently told our premiums are going up to over $6,000 a year, which is scary. For people living here, the threat of wildfires isn't just about the possibility of losing their home. It's also about whether we can continue to insure our homes at all. I understand property owners can be held responsible when illegal fireworks are used on their property. That's property owner liability. And I'd like to know if that law is actually being enforced in Yucca Valley, and how many property owners have been cited for fireworks this summer, and how many of the fines have actually been collected, if any. We know that every fire we've had this summer wasn't caused by fireworks, but we know that fireworks have already caused or suspected of causing fires here, and it's preventable if we could just get people to stop doing them. So I guess my main question is our law enforcement system actually deterring people from setting off illegal fireworks? Has there been any kind of public service campaign letting people know the consequences of illegal fireworks? And if we want this law to stop people from setting off fireworks, there has to be real and predictable consequences. Otherwise, it's just a law on the books if, there's no follow-through. So I think that we deserve to be able to see these numbers, and I hope the town will include this information in an upcoming code compliance report so we can understand what's being done and whether it's working or not. So Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Carolyn Havens.
Good evening. My name is Caroline Havens, and I am a resident of Morongo Valley. I'm here tonight to respectfully ask the council to place a discussion of a ban on harmful rodeo tools within the city of Yucca Valley on a future council agenda. I understand that rodeo is something that some people seem to have an attachment to, and I respect that people in our community can have different opinions about it. But I also believe that our community should be willing to examine traditions when there are legitimate concerns about animal welfare, public safety, and whether certain forms of entertainment reflect the values we want our city to promote. Rodeo events often involve harmful rodeo tools, such as flang straps, ropes, spurs, and electric shocking devices that place animals under significant stress and risk of injury. These barbaric tools have no place in civilized society. We can and should do better and choose to evolve past these cruel practices. I want to emphasize that this request is about the animals and the kind of community Yucca Valley wants to be. We can preserve community gatherings, family entertainment, and local traditions while also looking for activities that don't depend on animals being subjected to potentially harmful treatment. So tonight, I respectfully ask the council to direct staff to return with an item for a future agenda addressing the possibility of prohibiting these harmful rodeo tools within the city of Yucca Valley. Thank you for your time, your service to our community, and for considering this request.
Thank you.
Cheryl Contopoulos.
Hey.
Surprise, Cheryl Contopoulos, 4755 Malin Way. At least that's what my family thinks my address is now. I came here at the last town council and requested more publicity for the shelter, putting out another flyer for town council, not necessarily town council, but from the town for volunteers. Tonight I'm here as a volunteer, and I'm throwing down a challenge for town council and town management and anyone else. Please go to the shelter. Susan Herring has bought these wonderful bandanas to say, "Adopt me." This represents Scamper, beautiful, he's a Malamute, but he looks like a wolf, and then all the other dogs. If everyone within their sphere of influence took a picture with one of these dogs, you have friends, family, outside of this basin. There was 90 dogs at the shelter. Only about 60 are adoptable because some are on stray hold, some are rescue only. But you know, there's nothing more wonderful than happening to be at the shelter and seeing one of those 90-plus day dogs. You guys got to appreciate that, you know. My grandson donated money to help sponsor. Thank you, Jeff, for another challenge. Two of his, one dog had been there for a year, and she was a great dog. Please, take this under advisement. Go down there. The staff can pick out any kind of dog that works for you. There's puppies, there's pugs, there's huskies. There's just these big old slugs that just will love on you. You can throw a ball, you can groom them, you can sit in the play yard with them, you can read to them. You don't even have to like go out into the yard with them. It is hot right now. I just see these dogs and the staff are doing amazing things. I mean, today I helped hold 5 little bottle baby kittens while their nails got clipped. You never know as a volunteer what you're going to be exposed to or be able to do. I'm just saying there's a lot there. Volunteer, tell your friends and family. You've got staff now. His in-laws showed up today. They're going to start volunteering. You have another staff member who has this little kitten who's been weighed every day for almost a month because she doesn't weigh 2 pounds yet, and she can't go home with his sister and mother. Please, thank you. You've done great. We're there. Let's keep on pushing.
Thank you.
Brenda Calvillo.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem, members of the council. My name is Brenda Calvillo, and even though I live in 29 Palms, I'm a frequent shopper of Yucca Valley, and I love Yucca Valley. I do a lot of shopping here. So my request to you today is I'm talking about a ban of the tools that are used in our rodeo, such as flank straps. That's what the industry calls them, but they're really bucking straps. I mean, without a flank strap, the animal will buck occasionally, but not on demand, such as in a rodeo. Another tool that is often used is electric shock. So the chutes, they're rented, by the way, by anybody who puts on a rodeo out here in Yucca Valley or Morongo Basin or anywhere in this area. All the animals that are used in a rodeo, such as bulls, they're all rented. And also the people, the men, because I don't see any women in a rodeo riding these bulls, they're rented. So we have a lot of people coming in from out of state. They don't even live in California, nowhere in California. So the horses may be in Yucca Valley, but the bulls, the sheep, and all the other animals that are used in a rodeo, they come from out of state. They're called stock animals. So I just wanted to ask you for your compassion. So a couple of words that I heard tonight were compassion and doing things proactively. So even though you may not align yourself with the rodeo, you align yourself with compassion and proactivity. So I would ask all of you to please direct your staff to do some research on some of the tools that are used in a rodeo and put a ban on these devices. Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Corbett Bratton.
Good evening, Mayor and Town Council. My name is Corbett Bratton, and my community of residence is Cathedral City. I am here this evening to read a letter from Dr. Peggy Larson, a board-certified veterinarian who has treated animals injured in rodeos and also a lawyer prosecuting former animal abusers. Animals should not be injured or killed for entertainment, and that is what rodeo is. It bears no resemblance to ranching. I grew up on a cattle ranch in North Dakota and spent 8 years as a ranch veterinarian there. My ranch clients did not ride bulls, speed rope calves, or make their expensive horses buck. Rodeo is not American tradition. As a former bareback bronc rider, pathologist, and large animal veterinarian, I have both the experience and autopsy proof that rodeo injures and kills animals. Dr. Robert Bay from Colorado autopsied roping calves and found hemorrhages, torn muscles, torn ligaments, damage to the trachea, damage to the throat, and damage to the thyroid. These calves never even get a chance to heal before they are used again. Calves roped repeatedly in the practice pens suffer constant pain and injuries to their necks and the rest of their spinal columns. Dr. Haber, a veterinarian with 30 years of experience as a USDA meat inspector, stated, quote, "The rodeo folks send their animals to the packing houses where I have seen cattle so extensively bruised that the only areas in which the skin was attached was the head, neck, legs, and belly. I have seen animals with 6 to 8 ribs broken from the spine and at times puncturing the lungs. I have seen as much as 2 and 3 gallons of free blood accumulated under the detached skin. Animals and humans share the same pain and fear centers in the brain. The fear center is the amygdala. The pain centers are the prefrontal cortex and the thalamus. Animals feel pain and fear the same as humans. As a former state criminal lawyer, we prosecutors have all had cases where criminals have abused and tortured animals before abusing or killing humans. What are we teaching our children when we cheer when a calf roper knocks down and drags by the neck a bawling calf? Kids cry at rodeos. It is time to end animal abuse at rodeos. Dr. Peggy Larson, MVD.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Michelle Walsh.
I'm Michelle Walsh from Palm Springs. I'm a humane service officer through the Humane Society. There is a rodeo event called mutton busting for children, typically between 4 to 7 years old, in which they ride a sheep and try to stay on as long as possible, while the sheep runs full blast around the arena. Even with protective equipment, there have been documented cases of head injuries, broken bones, and other injuries. Also, bulls and horses have escaped the arena, injuring spectators. This presents a huge liability for the city. Buying insurance alone will be incredibly expensive. Please reconsider allowing this event. And metal spurs, even when rounded, cause extreme pain, skin abrasions, cuts, punctures, bruising, stress, and long-term sensitivity and scarring. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you.
Allison Benanzi. Stephen Dreyer. Sharon Motley. Debbie Smith. Those are my
All right. Is there anyone else that has not spoken during this time? Would like to? Anyone online? Well, thank you. First of all, probably the same sentiment as the council. I want to thank everybody that spoke, whether you live within the town limits or outside of the town limits. It speaks volumes. Sitting through our meeting on those hard chairs, to have a moment of 3 minutes to speak speaks volumes about your position and your passion for what you spoke on. So we thank you, and we appreciate you taking the time to be with us tonight. We'll go on to our staff reports.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. We'll keep these brief in our late hour. Alex, any updates for the council this evening? Frank? Sergeant Berman?
Sure. I'd like to say thank you to the mayor and the rest of your team, specifically Jessica Rice. With the help of your guys' implement of a JAG grant, we're able to save enough. For those of you who don't know, the city basically applies for grants on our behalf to purchase items, law enforcement related, whether they're shields, spike strips, you name it. For the last couple of years, we've been foregoing our spending those grants in order to save our pennies. And we just recently purchased this Friday a OHV off-road motorcycle, again, to combat the off-road melees we've been having throughout the last couple, well, for forever now. So again, thank you to you and your team. Also, we recently had a Shop with a Cop on August 1st. Thank you, Deborah, for attending. Appreciate it. That basically is, we specifically handpick children that we've come in contact with throughout the year. We had 50 children, and this includes scenes we've showed up to, CPS follow-ups, and kids who have unfortunate means. So we'll take them, and our union provides them with, we had 50 kids, so we provided about $10,000 worth of back-to-school supplies that they're able to shop around and get the supplies they need. super uplifting to be a part of that. And thank you again, Deborah, for being a part of that too and coming out. There's always a story behind those children. And sometimes it's even kind of heartbreaking when you see some of these children just buying supplies like soap and toothpaste with that money. We will do that again in December for Shop with a Cop for Christmas. Look forward to seeing everyone there who wants to participate. We'll be there. Thank you again to the city and Walmart for hosting us. Other than that, this last month has been pretty steady as far as other months. About 2,000 calls for service, about 200 reports taken, about 40 arrests, and almost 100 citations. Just as basically on par with the last couple months. But that's all I got. Thank you again for having us.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Thank you for filling in for the captain, lieutenant today. Appreciate it. Great job. Mayor and Council, just a quick update on 2 items. We are getting close on the regional pickleball facility here to the north of the community center complex. We will be reaching out to schedule a ribbon cutting, so super excited about that. And then on the legislative front, just a couple updates on AB 1808, AB 1663. These are 2 bills that would make significant changes to the Western Joshua Tree Conservation Act. We are in the 9th inning, maybe the bottom of the 9th inning for the legislative session, and the recent amendments that have come out are very positive for Yucca Valley. We've looked at the changes. They primarily impact existing single-family residences that are already in place, and the ability to make modifications or changes for both accessory dwelling units, other improvements on those lots, and or public works projects. And so the relief that is coming in the legislation is significant in terms of mitigation fees, as well as a structure that incentivizes potentially delegate authority that would make sense for the town, possibly under the right circumstances. So we are grateful for the work of the Assembly members, Assemblymember Wallace, Senator Ochoa Bogue, and Assemblymember Carrillo for their efforts. We're also grateful for the open dialogue that we've had throughout this process. Incredibly painfully slow, as you know. This has been something that's been going on for multiple years, but our open dialogue with the Department of Fish and Wildlife, as well as the environmental advocates, and then most recently the mayor and town staff team had the opportunity to meet with the governor's public affairs team. We will be submitting our comments to them in support of AB 1808 and AB 1663. Lastly, both of the legislative efforts are being drafted as urgency legislation, so we expect them to have their final determination in the legislature this week, early next week. Once the governor signs them, they would become effective. So this can be within the next 30 to 45 days, something that's a reality. So super excited about that. I just wanted to end on some good news. Thank you, Mayor. That's it.
Thank you. A question on that. Could both of those pass independently, or would they be married together?
It will depend on ultimately what the legislature sees fit and how they move forward. But they could, yes. The answer is yes and yes. Either option could move forward.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Fingers crossed. All right, now we'll move on to our council member reports and comments. We'll start with Council Member Dennison.
Thank you, Mayor. And just kind of a little bit of tail on the conversation that the town manager was just having. I speak to our legislators pretty regularly, and there is a lot of engagement with our town and many other people involved in these discussions with the assembly bills. And so they're very appreciative that we are continuing to support them in their mission too, but it's directly from the community here. We've had a lot of people from our community that have helped to move this forward. We've had business owners that have helped move it forward, residents that have moved it forward, and they've shared their stories and their concerns. So yeah, very, very thankful for the work. I know it's a lot of work from staff on top of all the things the mayor talked about earlier that we have. This is very important to everybody, no matter your position in our community. So thanks for that. I just want to, real quick, all the speakers, again, thank you. For those of you, most of you are gone now. I see a cute dog down there in the end. But yeah, it's nice to have people come in and tell us their concerns. And we heard clearly today off-roading, and the sergeant talked about that this evening. and Camacho had had some discussion about it too. Very good. And I'm glad to hear that you have a new, another resource, another tool to use that just got finalized. So that's a big thing, but congratulations to our Tri-Valley Little League All-Star champions, the state champions, might I remind you. I think they had a really good a moment here for us to take the time to recognize the journey they've had and how high they rose. They were just a little bit away from getting to the World Series, so that's pretty good, almost touching the sun. Jennifer came to the Sportsman's Club, and thank you very much for the participation again. The Sportsman's Club donating for our shelter. That's a big thing for us, as you know. And then the other one where brought up about going to the shelter, visiting, and the scarves that were donated, say Adopt Me. I think those are all great things. I'll make a point of getting up there, and that's all I have to say tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Rhodes.
Yes, I just want to say we had quite the variety of presentations today. I appreciate all the presentations. They were great. Everything the community's doing in faiths and the sheriff. But also the public comment. We had quite a variety of public comment today also. So that was really nice to see because we are here to listen to you, whatever you're thinking. And remember, you can always email us or call us or contact us somehow if you want to discuss these issues further. But I just loved hearing the variety of things tonight. That was great. So everybody have a great 2 weeks. I'll see you in September.
Thank you, Councilmember Lombardo.
Well, first off, I want to start with congratulating and thanking our championship softball team for showing up. That's pretty exciting. State champions, we don't get that. This is a first event for me. I've been here a long time. So, yeah, I think it's pretty exciting. And they deserve all the accolades. And it's awesome to see our youth working together to achieve such a memorable goal early on in our. Glad to see that happen. I, too, am appreciative of the people that showed up and gave us their comments. It was nice to see a full crowd. It was nice to see the support for the softball team and that sort of thing. I think it was a big moment that they'll remember. Thank you to our Sheriff's Department. We appreciate your efforts to solving the problem that has our citizens concerned about off-road vehicle riding, and the fireworks, I think, is a big thing, a little harder to put a finger on, but education is the key, and I think that part of it is educating the children in our local high schools and grade schools about the dangers of fire, and off-road riding needs to be controlled. It's fun, but it should be done in the proper manner, and maybe that needs to be more of a emphasis. It sounds like we have all sorts of wonderful things happening in the community services this fall and winter. Looking forward to a lot of those programs. We've got so many things happening in our community. There's no reason to not be involved. There's always things to do. The animal shelter can use volunteers and supplies, and so there's always opportunity there. It's a wonderful community to be a part of, and I'm glad to see everybody taking advantage of it. School's back in session, so be mindful of that. Yeah. Have a good evening. I'll get over with this.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Schooler.
Okay, thank you. I'd like to start with a quick report on the Animal Shelter Subcommittee. We met on August 5th, and there was a kind of a combined meeting because of vacation schedules during the summer. So we had a June report and a July report. And so we got shelter statistics that were very favorable, a little bit slow during the summer months, but still very favorable statistic for coming from the shelter. Notable was the staff's interaction with and cooperation with other shelters and rescue groups. Not only getting our animals out there, but we had one report that we were short on cats. And so there was another shelter in Palm Desert that had extra cats. And so we were able to take their cats. So there's some a real good interaction between the rescue groups and the other shelters. And our staff is doing a great job. We are staffed up. There's still some additional training that needs to take place, but it's great to see everybody staffed up there. We also have some very competent and dedicated volunteers. That program, as you know, was kind of slow getting going, but it was calculated to get the right people there and have meaningful assignments for the volunteers. And we've got 2 of them in the room, I think, still in the back of the room, Susan and Cheryl, who were there all the time, committing their time and money. They're buying stuff for the shelter and really doing a good job. Not just them, but others, but really doing a good job, and they're dedicated. They're looking how to solve problems and assist up there. So volunteer programs up and running. We did hear from Cheryl Contopoulos on her challenge that she told us about tonight, and it sounds like a pretty good idea to help get dogs adopted. So yeah, it was a good meeting. Our next meeting will be on September 17th. Where we'll kind of continue to get these reports, and we'll pass them along to you. So after that, I'd like to echo the congratulations to the softball champions. That's just awesome that our community could be represented that way, and created a lot of excitement. I too appreciated the public comments tonight and was particularly moved by, after Faith's report, we had people that were inspired to volunteer and to donate things. And I think, I like that. I like that enthusiasm coming out of the public for not just that, but the other items that were brought up tonight. And also, I'll just let you know, encourage everybody to attend the December Shop with a Cop, but get there on time. I got there right at 9 o'clock, and things were well underway. But it was impressive to see so many people in uniform and even out of uniform. Council members from 29 Palms were there, and they were all over Walmart, and they were helping people shop, and it was a really impressive event. So thank you for that.
Councilmember Drodes.
I just want to also thank Susan and Cher, because I neglected to do that. You guys have been volunteering a lot, so that's really appreciated. I wanted to say that publicly.
Yeah, and I hope the media picks up on the volunteers and interviews you and tells you can share your story at how rewarding it is, because it moves other people. So hopefully the media will reach out to you and you'd be willing to speak to them about that volunteer program. So thank you for that. Faith, thank you for your report. It is so great that we're trying to find solutions for very difficult issues. Tonight's issues we hear about, and we can do some things about it, and this one's a very large one, and it's obviously not just here in Yucca Valley, but it's statewide, nationwide. The unhoused is a real issue. I'm glad to be part of the Housing Authority, or the Housing Committee in San Bernardino County, and being a vice chair and trying to find housing for our people right maybe on the cusp of homelessness. So somebody who maybe has workforce housing needs, or people who are seniors that need housing, things like that. It's a real challenge, and we heard tonight about the mobile home parks. Protecting our seniors is important because they have limited incomes and they're very vulnerable. So we should take that in consideration in the future. I know the council did a great job in protecting the parks for seniors, and maybe there's something down the road that we might want to do to help look at that issue as well. And I want to thank our Sheriff's Department. Great partnership we've had for many, many years. I think one of the best decisions our founding council members did was to have contract services through the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department. This is a very patriotic, military, friendly town and so forth, and so many people do appreciate our law enforcement and first responders. And this is a unique area, and we've always talked before about how well you guys work with other agencies. So we heard tonight that you would be willing to work with the National Park. You always obviously work very closely with the California Highway Patrol and our San Bernardino County Fire. So we are so proud of the men and women who serve. Our prayers go out to you for protection and wisdom, and with the homelessness issue as well, that compassion that we heard about. We appreciate our sheriff enacting programs and having programs that are proactive in helping people get services, because as you know, a small group of people can cause jumps in vandalism, jumps in crime. We heard, the things with the off-roaders and with graffiti and so forth, just a handful of people. All of a sudden, it looks like we have a big issue, and it's actually 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 bad actors that we need to get a hold of. So appreciate that. And we appreciate all the people that spoke tonight, and for our staff putting together a wonderful council meeting. Our next meeting, our upcoming meeting, is scheduled on Tuesday, September 1st at 5 o'clock here in the Yucca Valley Community Center room. And thank you again for being here. Please drive home safely, and thank you for joining us online.